Boys in the back. Boys in the back. Boys in the back.
What is good? We are back. Another episode of The Boys in the Back with our great theme song. It's sweeping the nation. It's taking over the country right now.
It's number one on SoundCloud, I heard.
Number one on SoundCloud. Our independent artist came in and he conquered and he absolutely killed it. I am Connor Burks, also known as GC. This is my man, Eric Jackman. Right off rip, I would be remiss to say we got a new member of the team, Big Joe, back on the sticks, our TD for the day. We're missing our girl, Andy, but she'll be back soon and hopefully feeling much better in just a few days.
We love you, Andy.
And we trust Joe back there. Joe's going to crush.
Shout out to Joe.
Shout out to Joe.
Clutch.
Man. I mean, can we talk about, very quickly, just the calm, cool presence? It feels like Tom Brady going in for the last drive in the Super Bowl or something. Guys like,
Joe, do you have any words for the people?
No problem, mate, yeah.
That's essentially what it was. That's essentially what it was. Stepped in and came in super clutch.
Joe's a foxhole guy. You want him in the foxhole with you because he's calming the nerves. He's keeping it steady. You feel good.
Absolutely. I feel fantastic with Joe behind the sticks. All right, we got a great show today.
We sure do.
Our first guest? No. Second guest ever in program history. Can't forget the great Oscar Willis, who joined us on the very first episode. First UFC fighter to join the program. First UFC champ to join the program. First Parlay Pal that isn't us three to join the program. A lot of firsts. The 135-pound bantamweight champion of the world, Julianna Peña, will join the program later on. We'll do a live Parlay Pals for the first time ever?
Yes.
Did we do it in the MMA days?
I think we did it one time. I think we did do it one time with Juliana, and I remember her kind of scrambling, and I think it was actually you know what? Well, I'll save what I was thinking. We'll go back to it, but yes, we did do it live one time.
Can't wait to talk to her.
Yeah. UFC women's bantamweight champion, Julianna Peña.
All I'm going to say is 135-pound champion of the world, Mrs. Julianna Peña. We'll do that. We'll do a live Parlay Pals. We'll do pound-for-pound rankings, Thanksgiving dishes. I have a feeling that that's going to get contentious. I have a feeling that some people are not going to have the clear and automatic number one on their list. And then we'll talk about some fights as well. PFL Championships happening next Friday. We won't have a show next week, obviously, due to Thanksgiving. And we'll talk about UFC Macau, which is where we'll start the program today. Great card, decent card.
Oh, boy.
Fantastic main event.
1,000% aligned on fantastic main event. The other things you said up to that, I'm a little less sure.
I was trying to get your feel for where we're at.
We gotta go lower than that.
It's an okay card. For me, it's a 4-fight card.
Yeah.
You've got the main event with Petr Yan, Deiveson Figueiredo. You've got Yan Jianan versus Tabitha Ricci, which is a great fight. You've got Carlos Ulberg versus Volkan Ozdemir, and you have got, this is how great it is, I'm forgetting it, Kong Wang going against Gabriela Fernandez. Those are the 4 fights I'm interested in. Obviously, a 3 a.m. start on the East Coast. I can't complain too much because we're normally the ones that benefit from the great time zones. But I don't know if I'm going to be up at 2:45 sitting in front of the TV ready to watch this one.
Yeah, it feels like one of those where the ambition is not for the live audience in the U.S. to be enjoying this. It's more for the international folks and specifically the Asian market to be enjoying. And that's okay. Like, that's fine. That, sometimes that's going to be, as you've said, we're on the right side of that all the time. So it's okay if we're not. But that main event, man.
Well, that's what I'm thinking here. So, like, I'm really, really wildly intrigued by the main event. And it's kind of lining up perfect for us on the East Coast. Everyone kind of keeps, like, dogging the American fans. They're like, oh, it's going to be terrible this weekend for you guys. I feel like I'm just going to wake up at, like, 7 a.m., catch, like, the co-main and main event with a cup of coffee and just have myself a fantastic Saturday morning and then enjoy the rest of the day.
Yeah, and if there's something to go back, we go back. We pan back in the VOD clip and we find what we need. But I'm with you. I don't mind an early morning fight if the card was starting just a little bit either further back or earlier rather, or later, it might be a bit of an issue. I think it's actually kind of lining up nicely, as you said, you wake up, wipe the crust out of your eyes, grab a cup of coffee, and you're sitting there watching the co-main.
Which is just like, that's the best way to start your day. So those 4 fights that I mentioned are really intriguing. There's going to be 10 typical UFC fights, actual UFC sanctioned bouts, and then 3 road to UFC title fights.
Yep.
Men's bantamweight, men's flyweight, and women's strawweight that are going to be going down, which is, even if you don't know the people, it's always kind of cool to see because this person is going to get signed to the UFC if they win the fight, and they'll always be able to say, road to UFC champion, everything like that. So, I mean, it has stakes, which is cool.
Being fully transparent, every time there's a tough championship or a road to UFC championship on these cards, I haven't been watching.
Bathroom break?
No, not bathroom break, but
Drive to Taco Bell?
I've got no context. I have not watched any of the lead up.
Oh, I'm not going to act like I have either.
These people are fresh to me. These people are fresh to me.
I actually don't really know their names. I'm going to learn them on Saturday. I can't wait. Oh, I technically do know their names. Zhao Can instead of Zhao Man. Zhao Can Fang versus Ming Shi. Kiru Sahota, who you're big on. You were nonstop talking about him before the show. You were like, an Englishman fighting on the road to UFC.
I did notice that he's an Englishman.
He's taking on Dong Hoon Choi, not to be confused with Du Hu Choi.
Yeah.
And then Su Young Yu versus Baojing Jin Suli.
Looking forward to it.
I tried my best on those pronunciations. You're the one grinding every day on the Mandarin Duolingo.
I am
so you might know better than me.
Yeah, you're right.
But yeah, let's go to the main event, the main attraction, the reason we are all gathered here today when it gets to Saturday. I meant gathered here today as in on my couch on Saturday morning. The main event, Petr Yan taking on Deiveson Figueiredo. I just feel like banger. You know, we throw that around. Like,
yeah, we do.
It isn't an adequate term for this fight. Like, this is an unbelievable matchup, especially with where these guys are at in their career. Like, Petr Yan, I fear that some people are like starting to sleep on this guy. 17-5 now, but just look at who he's fighting. Obviously, coming off the win against Song Yadong, and then 3 straight losses before that. But who are the 3 straight losses to, my man? Murad Dvalishvili, current champion. Sean O'Malley, former champion. Aljamain Sterling, former champion.
The last 3 champions.
The
current champion and the 2 champions before that.
Before that, beats Corey Sandhagen in a fantastic interim title fight. And then the fight before that, Aljo Knee that he got DQ'd from in a fight that he was winning. Before that, finishes Jose Aldo. Before that, finishes Uriah Faber. And that's just his last 5 years. So his 5 losses in his career, 3 split decisions, 1 DQ, and then like the actual beatdown by Merab. Like, this dude fights killers over the last 5 years and throughout his entire career, because before he got to the UFC, his one loss was to Magomedov, who is now finding success in Bellator and PFL, and he lost by split decision and then won in the rematch. Like, he is just an absolute killer. And then on the flip side, Deiveson Figueiredo, 24-3, champion at flyweight, got locked
multiple time
champion at flyweight, gets locked in the quadrilogy against Brandon Moreno. You know, starts discussing potentially going to 135, loses to Brandon Moreno essentially like in the rubber match because they had the draw, even though it was the 4th one. Comes up to 135, now finds himself 3-0, fought Rob Font, fought Cody Garbrandt, my mistake, and Marlon Chito Vera, like 3 fantastic bantamweights. Finds himself in the top 5 and on the verge, if he wins this, in a potential title shot. Like, this fight, I just like, I could, for a non-title fight, this might be the most excited I could be for a fight.
Okay, interesting. I am very, very excited. I don't know if I'm as excited as that, like the fight that I'd be most excited about without a title on the line, but it's up there. Stylistically, it's going to be an incredible fight, and we can talk the tail of the tape, and we can talk about the technique, but I do want to circle back to a few things you said. Number one, I am with you. I think that Petr Yan is being criminally overlooked because everybody thought he was invincible for a long time. And when he fell from that perch, right, when it was lost 4 out of the last 5, now it has become lost 4 out of the last 6 because he has now won since. It looks bad on the resume, but when you do the context, when you look at what you have looked at and go champion, the decision against Sean O'Malley that people thought could have gone either way, the second fight against Aljo, the first that people had him winning before he got DQ. There are circumstances that can make you realize that like it is not as bad a run as the resume looks, the red looks on the Tapology when you look at it. But it also comes from when we were heading into the fights with Aljamain Sterling, it felt like a foregone conclusion that he was going to be a long reigning champion. The talk was all, once he gets past Aljamain, what happens? Now, Aljamain went on to then be a champion who defended the belt multiple times and kind of upended that whole narrative. But heading into it, that was what it was. It was, Yan is here to take over the bantamweight mantle, to reign in this division, and who's going to be able to stop him? And he kind of stopped himself in a sense. Right now, he has lost those fights, and it didn't end up going that way. But I think people's expectations from that point just went from up here to all the way at the bottom. And now we're looking at a situation where I feel like he is being overlooked as somebody who could, if he wins this fight against Figueiredo, you said Figueiredo could get a title shot. I don't see any reason he could not potentially be back in a title situation. Now, certainly the fight against Merab Dvalishvili, I thought was pretty uncompetitive. He had his moments, but it felt like Merab was in control of that fight. But Yan is so good, I would not mind seeing a second fight between those two. If there is another champion, let's say Usman Nurmagomedov is next. Let's say Umar Nurmagomedov is next and fights Merab Dvalishvili. The winner of that, you could certainly see a Petr Yan sliding into that situation. You could certainly see a Deiveson Figueiredo in that situation. There's a lot of options from here. I don't think bantamweight is as locked down as it was when Aljamain had kind of been running through the contenders now. O'Malley had only fought Cheeto before losing to Merab. There is life in this division, and I think he fits right into that picture. And I think he's as good as any of these guys. I don't think he has suffered a decline in any way.
1,000%, man. And that's why I'm so excited for this because, like I said, yeah, Deiveson Figueiredo could get a title shot off this. And Petr Yan, while I think the Merab loss hurts him just because it was, not only the most one-sided loss of his career, but it was also just kind of like, I think Merab attempted like 58 takedowns or something in that fight, like something ridiculous. Like it was just chain wrestling on a whole nother level, and like he was finding success doing it, and it was sort of just a one-sided fight. I think that's the only thing that holds it there, but if you get a win over Deiveson Figueiredo, you might be one win away now from getting back in the title shot. Actually speaking about Deiveson Figueiredo's title chances with a win, I do want to lay it out for you a little bit. So there were the rumors that Umar Nurmagomedov wasn't going to get the title shot and he was going to get booked, I believe, against Song Yadong or something in December.
That was the talk. They were trying to make that happen.
It was going to potentially be in Tampa. That's not come to fruition. And now, I still kind of believe like he's going to be next for a title. But if he's not, if Deiveson Figueiredo wins this fight and they don't go back to a rematch, Sean O'Malley versus Merab Dvalishvili 2, which I don't believe they should. I think Merab won that pretty clearly. Sean only had the one title defense. I feel like you give it to the next contender. Deiveson Figueiredo at bantamweight. I mentioned Cody Garbrandt, who was unranked when he beat him. He beat a number 7 Rob Font, who's now number 9. He beat a number 4 Marlon Chito Vera, who's now number 6. And if he beats Petr Yan on Saturday, he will have beaten the number 3 guy in the division as well, which, in my opinion, is a stronger resume than Umar Nurmagomedov's. Umar Nurmagomedov's one ranked win is against Corey Sandhagen, who granted was number 2 at the time that they fought.
Objectively stronger, no doubt. I will say.
Undefeated, Nurmagomedov name.
That's the thing. Aljamain Sterling was here in studio, and in fact, sitting right here talking to ArielHelwani on the ArielHelwani show. Watch that every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, right here on the YouTube channel. He sat in this very chair and he said he's coasting on his cousin's name and his cousin's resume. And there's a truth to that. But there's also a truth. I think we have to be really like transparent when we talk about Umar, that it is very difficult for guys like Umar to get fights. Because when you're not ranked, somebody as good and as skilled as Umar is not the opponent you want to face when you're a top-ranked guy. You do not want to get... Now, this is why we all had so much respect for Corey Sandhagen, because Corey was the one guy who was in that ranking going, bring him on. I don't care. If I'm going to be the champion, I want to fight everybody, and I'm going to fight the best, including a guy like Umar, who's not ranked and could really pose a lot of problems for people. So while the resume is better for Figueiredo, I think part of that is also the fact that Figueiredo is somebody who they thought they could beat and might have an easier fight against because he's coming up from flyweight, and there's a name attached to it, but you're not necessarily sacrificing your ranking. Whereas with Umar, there is a true difficulty to finding fights. I know that's kind of like the rap, and it's like Islam. We've seen it happen with Habib and with Islam, where it is just so hard for them to get that final one, that contender fight, that top guy to just say, I will take the risk and fight you. It's kind of what's happening with Umar. Song Yadong would have been a great one, right? Song Yadong versus Umar Nurmagomedov would have been a great fight to then go, okay, he's beaten a true blue top-ranked contender. Now we can slide him into the title shot. Ultimately, I think the skills are there that everybody who's seen him fight can recognize. The skills are there. We're good. Like you could put him in a title shot. Ultimately, I think they will. I think the fight will be Merab versus Umar. But resume for resume, fight for fight, what Deiveson Figueiredo has done in 3 fights is like better than most people at bantamweight outside of Merab. Like there's not a lot of guys who you could look at in the current bantamweight division and go like they're on a streak that Deiveson is on. So could he jump him? I doubt it, but I wouldn't be mad because fight for fight, the guy deserves it.
Also, it can't be slept on that if he does do this on Saturday, he will have done this all within a 365-day span. One calendar year for him. I guess not the calendar year, but 1 year for him, 365 days. He will be 4-0 at bantamweight with wins over, at the current time, number 9, number 6, and number 3 in the division. I mean, it would be wild, and I wouldn't blame, especially a guy who may not have the massive star power, but like he is a big name and he was a champion when he was at flyweight. Like I wouldn't be shocked. I mean, say they do go back to that Sean O'Malley rematch. Like for some reason they do decide to book that in Miami or whatever in March, and then winner of this fight versus Umar Nurmagomedov, number 1 contender fight. I'm not saying that's what I want, but that would be a banger of a fight. Petr Yan or Deiveson Figueiredo against Umar Nurmagomedov.
I think that's kind of how it would have to play out if they do go to O'Malley.
Which I do not think that they should.
Yeah, I mean, it's just going to depend on the timing.
I actually really like, the more we talk about it, the stronger I feel about, like, if Deiveson Figueiredo beats, if he beats Petr Yan on Saturday, he should get a title.
The resume is sick. We're going to keep talking about it because the resume is sick.
4-0 in bantamweight in less than a year. Like, had he just fought 1 month later and he had done it in 2024, like, we'd be talking about a guy that potentially went 4-0 with massive wins at bantamweight. Obviously not enough to be fighter of the year, but like up there in the conversation. But he's got a tall task ahead of him.
Not just that, but looked really good. That's the other thing. It's not like Deiveson came up to 35 from 25 and it's like
squeaked by.
He kind of got these wins. He is cruising at 135. He looks great. Cruising at 135. That's a dominant. Wow. Actually, I didn't. He is looking amazing, and it's clear. Like everybody who we know he had a really tough weight cut to 25. He just, I mean, you can see it in him. There is not an ounce of fat or water left in his body by the time he hits the scale at 25. Scale just looking frail. 35, I have to transparently say, like, I expected him to be a little bit small. Like, I expected him to be undersized. And he's not a big bantamweight in terms of that. He doesn't have, like, the physical attribute. He's not a Corey Sandhagen, right, where he's just towering over people. Nobody's Corey Sandhagen at 35 because he's just got that physical gift, but those physical advantages. But I expected him to be just like out-muscled, outsized, and outworked, and he is just proving to be as good as anybody else at bantamweight. And it's been a little bit surprising to me, I have to admit, because I thought maybe he was in this sweet spot where he was a little too big for 25, but a little too small for 35, and he's just proven me to be wrong. He is perfectly fine at 35. In fact, he'll be standing across from a guy who's smaller than Petr Yan is not a big 135er. It's going to look normal, and he's going to put himself in line for a potential title shot with a win here.
It is a tall task. We say that
Yan is not done. Like, this idea that Yan is done off these losses, like, I don't see.
Well, I was gonna say some people may think that because of his recent run, but I do think a lot of people still respect his skills and know how dangerous he is at 135. And someone that isn't forgetting that is the odds makers. Petr Yan right now minus 300. Deiveson Figueiredo a plus 250 coming back. The way the fight plays out, I can't help but think, maybe it is just me thinking of the pre-Aljamain Sterling loss, Petr Yan, where I was like, this guy is never going to get beat. Yeah. He's going to reign over the 135 division forever. But like the whole downloads the information in the first round, starts slow, gets going. 5 rounds always favors him.
5 rounds is always good for Yan.
Always good for Yan. If it's going to be boxing, like he's probably going to get the better of his opponent. And like his takedown defense, other than the Merab fight, has been pretty sterling.
Honestly. We're doing fighter puns. Even in the Merab fight, his takedown defense was pretty damn good.
Yeah.
It was just that Merab was shooting so many takedowns, and the pace was the aggression there. His takedown defense was fine.
Merab landed 11 takedowns on 49 attempts.
Yeah.
49 attempts.
If you're shooting 49 times, you're going to get 11. Just insane. Whoever that, maybe not John Jones. Anybody else.
A clean 50-45 win for Merab.
No, don't get me wrong. As I said, I didn't think it was particularly competitive, but I did not go away from that fight going, man, Yan just doesn't have it anymore. That's a bad style matchup for Yan because his striking is always going to be stifled by somebody who's just going to be in. Merab's style is a nightmare. It is just a nightmare for everybody. Sean O'Malley, Petr Yan. Everybody that he faces, it is the puzzle of how do you battle the pace of Merab Dvalishvili is always going to be a problem. His style is extremely unique. He doesn't need to land the takedowns. Those 11, he could have not landed any of them, and it would have been exactly the same fight because all he's doing is pressing you and pressing you and pressing you so that your offense can't get off. And Yan needs his offense, right? He is a super sound defensive fighter, but when he can counter and when he can really get his striking going, that's when he's at his best, and Merab just doesn't let that. So to me, I saw a bad style matchup. One that I would not have a problem seeing run again. I think Yan would make some adjustments and probably look quite a bit better. But there was no fight in that run where I went, yeah, I don't think Yan has it anymore. I saw the things that I needed to see in that fight that I was like, yeah, he's trying his best, but Merab is just a load.
Between the 3 fights of the guys at Serra-Longo, Merab once and Aljo twice, your guess on how many takedowns were attempted on Petr Yan?
Yeah, so I know Aljo landed a handful in the second fight. He must have landed, I think he landed like 4 or 5 or something. And he probably shot 15, 20 times. 75 shots? How many takedown attempts?
88.
88 takedown attempts, yeah.
So across that's 50 minutes, and then they made it 19 in the first Aljo fight. So across 69 minutes of fight time, they attempted 88 attempts on Petr Yan. And credit to Petr Yan, they only landed 14 of them.
Yeah.
I mean, despite fighting these guys who incessantly try to take him down, 85% takedown defense for him.
Who are the best at this? Who are the best at doing this? The takedown set up the offense. Also, shout out to Serra-Longo and that team and their game plan. Effective, right? They have figured out a way to kind of defeat Petr Yan. I don't see the drop off. He is getting older. That just is the fight game. But I didn't come away from any of those fights going this is a materially different fighter than I saw before. I saw some really hard style matchups for him. That's all I saw. And I don't think Deiveson Figueiredo poses those same problems. I think he poses different problems. I think this will be a competitive fight. But I don't see that being the problem. His grappling is very good, though. Deiveson, when he has an opportunity to snatch a submission,
1,000%. That's actually what I was going to ask you. Obviously, he is incredibly dangerous on the ground. But if he can't get it there, and it does just turn into a boxing kickboxing match, how do you see this one going?
I have to favor Yan in a striking battle. I just think he's going to be the crisper, cleaner striker. I also think Deiveson is going to be the one willing to go forward and give him opportunities. Yan can lay in the pocket and kind of wait for Deiveson to go. And even if he's not, if Yan's first, I think he's going to win that one too. So I actually think this is a style matchup that favors Yan, but I think there are opportunities. What Deiveson's so great at that not everybody is creating chaos. He's just so good in creating a scramble or creating a flurry or creating an opportunity where your game has to change, where you have to do something different than the game plan that you got into. And he's very good in those moments. He will find a submission, or he'll find a knockout, or he'll make something happen where he puts himself in a better position. He's so good in that kind of scramble, that chaos. If he makes Yan think and has him scrambling, there's a real opportunity, I think, for him.
All right, so something you said there, he finds a submission, he finds a knockout. I think something that's also incredibly underrated about Petr Yan is his durability. Never been finished throughout his entire career.
That's right.
And, he is a super, super tough dude. He has gone 25 minutes on several occasions throughout his career. He's got the cardio for it. He's got the durability. It just feels to me, the way that I see the fight playing out is that Deiveson won't be able to get it to the mat, and if he is, he won't be able to hold it down there and be able to get off what he's trying to get off, and that Petr Yan throughout the course of the 5 rounds is just going to have success, and it'll build up in the
striking.
boxing.
He's just adding up the... Do you think Deiveson's going to come in with a grappling-heavy approach?
No, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that
he will try at some point.
He might attempt to take it to the ground.
So,
and he's very good at just mixing it up.
That's it. He is so good at just implementing everything. If there's an opportunity for takedowns, he'll take it. If there's not, we watch him go to war with Brandon Moreno just standing a dozen times at this point. He's not the guy who forces one way or another. He's very good at both. Sometimes he's mixing them in. I don't think he'll come with a grappling heavy approach, but I do think there will be some opportunities that he will try to take him down, and I think he will be stuffed. I think Jan's takedown defense is so insane,
nasty,
dude.
And even if he does get it down, like we said, never been finished, never been submitted. Dude has also had Aljamain Sterling on his back for 15, 20 minutes of UFC fight time. Especially in that second fight, it was 3 rounds where Aljo just had his back the entire time.
Yeah, where Aljo is a finisher. Yeah, has the submission.
Oh yeah, Aljo's got submissions. Yeah. And he just wasn't able to finish them. I think even if it does go to the ground, Petr Yan is capable of surviving.
He's super sound defensively on the feet, and he's super sound defensively on the mat. It's going to be
25 minutes of this is going to be great. That's a way to start your Saturday morning.
Do you think it will go
there.
25 minutes? Do you think it will ultimately be a decision? I think so too.
I do, because I know Figgy has been finished in the past, but he is also a super tough guy as well.
Yeah.
Like I think that one of the Brandon Morenos was a doctor stoppage. The other was a submission, which I don't really see Petr Yan trying to do that. And I feel like when Petr Yan does finish people, it's an accumulation of volume, like the Jose Aldo in the 5th round. Like it's not just like you're not just sparking dudes and like twisting their heads and putting them flat on their back.
Yeah, I think he will be able to accumulate strikes. But to your point, like Figgy's not going to just fold up shop. Figgy's not that.
It's going to be sick. I mean, sign me up for 25 minutes of this every day of the week. Actually, it does make me curious. Like that was sort of me just like going off of the top of my head of like fights I'm most excited for that don't have a title on them. Is there any else that knee-jerk reaction that come to mind?
That's like booked? Probably not, but I could think of a few that I'd be like excited about.
Dan Hooker, Justin Gaethje.
Yeah, there's stuff like that. Like Dustin Poirier, Max Holloway could probably be.
Poirier, Max
now
Holloway.
They'd argue that there's a title, right?
There is a title on there.
They'd pretend there's a title.
We respect the silver around these parts.
You respect the silver. I don't respect the silver. But it's up there as like a just pure style. Also, just the run that Figgy is on, I think, has elevated him in a way at bantamweight that if this was Figueiredo's first match at a flyweight, it'd be a little bit weird, and it would feel like, is he ready for it? Like too much. Like, but now that he's established himself as a bantamweight, like this is a great fight, like a perfect fight for him at this time.
Yeah, man, the stakes are just so high here because, like, if Petr Yan, like, we've said it throughout the first 25 minutes of this program, like, we still have faith in Petr Yan to not only, win fights, but be a serious title contender at 135. But if he loses this, like, he's 2-5 in his last 7, and like you really start creeping away from like him getting another title shot. Like I know you can obviously always fight back, but the difference in him losing and winning this, you win the fight. It's just like now you got a top 5 win on your belt. You already beat Song Yadong. It's just like one more fight and you're back in the title shot and you get another shot at Merab. And then on the flip side of that, Figgy, you win and it's just like give me my shot at the belt.
He was already calling for it.
I'm 4-0. I debuted in December of last year, and I'm already 4-0 in the bantamweight division with 3 top 10 wins.
He was already calling for it before this, and quite frankly, like has a case to be made. If he gets this, there's nothing else to ask for.
Get on that mic, Figgy, and you just be like,
look
at my resume compared to Umar Nurmagomedov's.
Here's the mic to Captain Eric. Captain Eric gets on that mic and screams it for you. I was thinking about, let's say Yan does lose. I think we both said we're leaning Yan, right? I think we both expect Yan to win this fight. Again, competitive. I'm not saying like I don't have a strong lean. In fact, minus 300 feels a little bit heavy odds to me for Yan. I do expect him to win though. If he were to lose, I don't think he's a featherweight. I don't think he's a flyweight. So you kind of have to look around and go like, he's still going to be a bantamweight, and what are the fights that he could potentially get? I'll tell you one I would watch. Sean O'Malley versus Petr Yan.
Oh, too.
I'd watch the hell out of the rematch right now, and you've headlined a fight night somewhere with that. Woo, put that as a co-main of a UFC pay-per-view. I'd watch the hell out of that fight.
Co-main of UFC pay-per-view. I feel like Sean O'Malley, despite losing the belt, is still
the star.
He still has to be on a pay-per-view.
You're right.
Petr Yan, Henry Cejudo.
Let's do it.
I mean, there's some beef there.
There's still fights for. That's the thing. It felt like.
135 is dumb stacked. Like it is stacked up.
And there's still so many. I mean, one of my all-time favorite fights that has ever happened in MMA history. And if you don't remember this one fondly, and it kind of just blew by you, I implore you, Yan versus Sandhagen is one of the best fights you will ever see. From a technical perspective, from a drama perspective, that is one of the best fights you will ever see. I implore you. If that was one that was just like a ho-hum fight night and you just blew by it, go back and watch that one. I watched UFC the hell out of those two fighting again.
UFC 267 free pay-per-views when they did the back-to-back 67, 68. 68 was in New York. I mean, that was my era now. Now I just remember everything. I'm like an encyclopedia. 266 and on, I'm just like...
Ariel's got everything before that covered, and you got everything after that covered.
Exactly. I remember that night fondly. Yes, that was a tremendous fight. Please go back and watch that.
So that's to say, if... There's options for either of these guys. Even winner, loser, there are fights out there for both these guys.
Of course.
The stakes are very high, but I don't feel like it's like urgent that this is not a must-win, quote unquote, for these guys because they will have options after this.
Honestly, even if Petr Yan wins, Petr Yan, Sean O'Malley, bad idea.
It's not a bad fight.
Winner goes and fights Merab.
Here's my thing.
Winner gets the rematch of Merab.
I guess if you guarantee that, if I'm Sean O'Malley, I don't know if I want that fight to be the one before the title shot. I'd probably try and wait and hope that Merab wants that rematch enough, which it seemed, of all the options, it definitely seemed Merab was most keen on Sean O'Malley rematch. And I imagine Sean O'Malley is most keen on a Merab rematch. So if I were Sean O'Malley, I don't know if I'd be running into a fight with Yan before getting that rematch.
That's the one where I know I jinxed it last week. I came on here and I was just like, is it the dumbest thing ever that the UFC made Chandler Oliveira 5 rounds? Yeah, I really ate my words on that one. I was like, there's no way it's going
Mike
5
almost
rounds.
came through for you, though, at the very end.
Mike almost came through for me. Yeah, I didn't think that one was going to need 5 rounds. Petr Yan, Sean O'Malley, 2, 5 rounds. Sign me.
I want
up for
that. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a ton of fights, ton of stakes. Fantastic fight too. This is also just going to be such a sick fight. And like I just love when you talk through a fight. It just gets you all the more hyped for it.
Totally.
Like when we showed the tail of the tape up there, I was just like, oh man, I can't wait for Saturday morning. Yeah,
it's a fight fans fight.
When I'm watching UFC, it's going to be like, what do we think? It's a 13 fight card. It's a 3 a.m. start. So like we're probably thinking like 8:15 Eastern or something, like 8 to 8:30 Eastern is when this will be starting, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it would be like the main event of like an Apex card that starts at 4 is on like
something like
9.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
Nine subs, 9 KOs for Deiveson. What a beast that little man is.
Yeah, I think we put up a lower third that it's like 18 of his 24 wins are by finish. I mean, he's a violent ass dude. God of War for a reason, man.
I have to say, he's one of my guys. Figgy is definitely one of my guys. I'm a stan for Figgy.
I love both these guys.
Yeah,
I love the whole bantamweight division. Like I know you're a lightweight guy, but I love 135.
It's not even close. Lightweight is still supreme and superior.
Sure. Not even close.
Bantamweight's great though. Not even
close.
Quote me. Print it.
Not even close.
Lightweight, the best division. Always has been. Always will be. Nothing touches it.
Co-main event of this one, Yan Xiaonan coming off a loss in the title fight at UFC 300 to Zhang Weili. But man, if you don't know about the toughness of Yan Xiaonan, go back and watch her fight at 300 against Weili Zhang. Absolute, just like digging deep, just gritty performance. Didn't win, but like it felt like she didn't lose any fans that night. Felt like she only gained them, just showing the toughness in that one. And then
she was a huge dog. Zhang was supposed to come in and smoke her, and she just did not relent.
Just dogged it out.
Yeah.
The Mackenzie Dern fight
Same
as well.
Thing. Yeah.
Like just the amount of time she like avoided submissions and came in as a massive dog and got a win there as well, and then knocking out Jessica Andrade. I am a big Yan Xiaonan fan.
Same.
Like she's just like, I love watching her fight. And on the flip side of this one, Tabitha Ricci getting a massive opportunity here. Like Yan Xiaonan is coming off of a title fight, still the number 2 ranked 115er, and Tabitha Ricci is at 10 right now. Like if you win this, you're going to make a huge jump in the rankings and be right in title conversations.
Yeah, I like this fight a lot too. It feels kind of similar to the main event in terms of the state. Like these are the cream of the crop in this division, and so I'm a believer in Yan Xiaonan. I believe in Tabitha Ricci to a degree. I feel like she's been starting to put it all together, but I do feel like she's limited in the way she approaches the fight in terms of really trying to grind people. Now, that is a successful style. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to pretend that like that's not a path to victory. That's a common path to victory. There's a lot of fighters who come in like that, but I do feel like if you meet opposition in that regard, it's a harder path to divert from, because then once you're on that train, and it's not working, there's limited options the other way. And so I don't know, I feel like Yan is just going to be a little more well-rounded and be able to thwart what Tabitha Ricci is trying to do. As we've said before, like she's the one who never packs it in. She will never quit. She will keep coming. She's tough as hell. She's got infinite heart. And so even if it does look bad potentially early, even if Tabitha Ricci is controlling the fight and has her in bad spots early, I do imagine by the end of the fight, she'll be there and she will be the one who's kind of like able to outlast. So I think I favor Yan Xiaonan just by the diversity of her skill set and her toughness.
And in addition to that, man, I mean, she's obviously going to try to keep this in the striking.
She wants to stand, yes.
And if she does, I think she's just going to be at a massive benefit.
Yeah.
I don't think Tabitha Ricci poses a massive threat to her. I mean, no knockdowns, no knockouts in her entire UFC career. Like, she isn't the greatest striker, and Yan Xiaonan has shown that she can strike with the best of them. So if she keeps it standing, I just think she's just going to be at a massive benefit. And if it does go to the ground, like, I trust her on the get-up game. Like, I favor Yan Xiaonan in this one.
I do think she will get her to the ground, though. That's
sure.
the potential issue, right?
I mean, we see, like, it's been a few years now, but, like, Carla Esparza had a ton of success, finished her on the ground.
Yeah.
We saw the Mackenzie Dern fight, 2 takedowns, but like she was able to have a lot of success with those 2 takedowns. Zhang landed like 6 takedowns. Like we've seen people get her down.
But what we always also saw in all those fights is she would come back, right? She would be taken down, but that's not going to stop her. That's not going to deter her. She's going to be able to come back and figure out a way to implement her game. I think we might see that. I think we might see early success from Ricci trying to make it dirty, trying to dirty in the sense of like getting in close. And I don't mean Tabitha Ricci is not a dirty fighter. That's not what I'm saying. I'm trying to make it messy, right?
No, I know what you mean. I know what you mean, bro. I'm not...
just trying to be careful with my words. Don't want
New York Jackman calls Tabitha Ricci a cheat.
Jordan's making the lower third, but trying to make it nasty, trying to get in her face, trying to get her up against the cage, trying to get her on the ground, and she may have success there. But I do ultimately think the better work will be done. And that's the thing that I come to. I think Tabitha Ricci is very good with the control and very good with the pressure, but she doesn't do a ton with it. It's not a relentless like kind of ground and pound attack. And so if she is able to do that, I could see her having real success, and I could see her really putting Yan Xiaonan in some difficult positions. But she needs to up that. She needs to up just like the meanness, the viciousness. If she does not, I do think Yan Xiaonan will outlast and figure out a way to be there in the end and probably do the better work.
Yeah, 100%. I wouldn't say this is a number 1 contender fight or anything like that or titles on the line, but like this does matter in the strawweight division, especially for Tabitha Ricci, because you have a chance to make a massive leap up to the top of the division.
Yeah.
Like this is your opportunity. You show out here. One other point, like Yan Xiaonan is going to have a 4-inch height advantage, which is like significant at 115. Like that's a fairly large difference. 5'1" against 5'5", I believe it is. So yeah, it's another very interesting fight to watch. A great co-main event, especially Macau. We've been doing some research. Chinese like Special Providence has its own flag. Was owned by the Portuguese government until like 1999. Like so, like not officially China, but like in the Chinese region and like a province of that. Regardless, Yan Xiaonan essentially getting to fight at home.
Yeah,
which is great to see.
You could take a trip there. Yes.
It's almost like a Vegas of the East.
Yeah, it's become that. Yes.
Also, can I just say Galaxy Arena? Great name. I don't know if that's a sponsorship or they're just like, we're giving this a sick name, Galaxy Arena.
The eyes of the universe are on.
Yeah.
Galaxy
Love
Arena.
That.
Yeah.
The eyes of the universe are on Kong Tang.
Oh yeah.
Did I get that right? Wang Tong.
Wang Tong is
Tong for sure. Yeah.
Wang Tong is what the commentary team
what the
said.
commentator says. Yeah. It looks like Wang Kong on the text of it. But we try to do our research and get these names right around here.
Wang Tong. If you know, you know.
Wang Tong. Gabriela Fernandez. If you don't know Wang Tong, she made her debut.
She was Contender Series?
Contender Series and got a first-round knockout. Came in with the painted Joker face.
Yep.
Did the guns like you can't be in here with me, you can't hang with me, and then comes out there and proves it. Gets a first round knockout. Yes.
We see
comes out in the Joker face. Kind of scary looking, and then gets a massive first round knockout. She did road to UFC, and then that was Cannonier Bohalio against Victoria Leonardo. So yes, has made her UFC debut, and now she gets Gabriela Fernandez. But like the real story that I wanted to get into here, because Wang Tong is like a minus 900 favorite in an unranked women's fight. What could go wrong? What could possibly go wrong? Is that if you don't know, she fought Valentina Shevchenko, kickboxing, 2015, I believe.
Was it Muay Thai or kickboxing?
It may have been Muay Thai. 2015, gets a win.
Yeah. Now
feels like there's a similar storyline here.
I've heard this story before. Yeah. Oh, wow. Look at this. We're showing the images. I've heard that story before. It reminds me of one young Alex Pereira. Not so young, actually, by the time he entered the UFC, but Alex Pereira chasing Israel Adesanya. The thing that stands out to me about that story is at the time, we have the benefit of hindsight. We are sitting here in 2024 where Alex Pereira can walk down the street in Korea and be the biggest celebrity that's walked down that street ever.
Get Shama Chance coming out.
Shama Chance from random people running out of their house and outside their window to scream for Alex Pereira. The hindsight that we have in 2024 is, Alex Pereira's the man. Of course he's the man. He's amazing. If we go back, it was Israel saying he'll be the guy in the bar saying, I fought that guy once. the fans saying he's just Izzy's food and he's just coming, he's riding Izzy's coattails and he's just that. These are the stories that happen, and I feel like that is the view of what this is toward Wang Tong right now. Is like, oh, she fought Valentina, but like, it wasn't really a thing. And actually, I should actually set some additional context. We had Valentina Shevchenko on. I don't know why I said her name so weird. We had Valentina Shevchenko on with Ariel from a cruise in, like, she's going around the Pacific Islands. It was quite an interesting endeavor. She was Ariel asked her about Wang Tong, and she basically dismissed it to the effect of saying the judging for that fight, which happened in China, was questionable. To be kind, was questionable, and she's not feeling like she lost that fight.
Perfect. Build the story even more.
So even though the record reflects that, she does not feel like she lost. I imagine if you ask Wang Tong, she feels like she won that fight. But I do get the sense that, like, people don't really put stock into that at the moment. Like, she is so far from a Valentina Shevchenko fight that it doesn't feel like it's something you need to really, like, go back and look at and think about. But it is kind of a shallow division. And if all of a sudden she starts knocking everybody out in the same way that, like, Alex Pereira started to get some steam, you could see a world where all of a sudden she's fighting for... I'll say this. She's got the swag to do it. She's got the aura, as the... God, I'm saying as the kids say because Ariel says as the kids say, and now I'm starting to let that, like, infest my brain.
Let's not let it happen.
I'm trying to fight against
the slang
it.
of the times is aura. Yeah, she has the aura, the face paint, the guns, and then you get the first round knockout. It's incredible. I mean, you say not soon. I mean, look at us. We're making this a flyweight contender fight in the lower third.
Wow.
Gabriela Fernandez 1-3 in the UFC. We're getting this has officially become a contender fight here.
Jordan's out for business for Wang Tong.
The two unranked flyweights. But in all seriousness about that, like, feel like we said that same thing about Alex Pereira. You know, like he's miles away from an Adesanya fight. From his debut to him fighting Adesanya was 1 calendar year.
Well, he had the Bruno Silva fight, and everybody was like, "Oh, he's not really the guy, is he?"
This does also, like, to be fair, like, this does kind of feel like the light version. Like,
yeah,
they fought one time, and it was a 3-by-3 kickboxing match, and it did go to a decision. And
it's
like,
the Splenda.
It was kind of like, yeah, I'm not really sure about the decision, and it's not like, you know, like Izzy cut the promo of just like, he's gonna be the guy in the bar.
Yeah.
Just like, that's legendary. And then the fact that, like, Alex Pereira knocked him out and taunted over him in kickboxing, like, there was
more animosity,
way deeper animosity.
Yeah.
Like, they were, like, linked for life, and then they met again in the UFC. So yeah, this is kind of like,
well, to that point,
Splenda version. Like
Valentina doesn't even, like, acknowledge, like, she's not even talking about it. She's just like, yeah, it was not the judges had it wrong, and
we need
on.
a Valentina Wang Tong promo, like, her to just rip a promo on her, just like, she's a bum. I mean, you saw her going after Manon Fiorot on Twitter, being like, be nice, be nice.
I love her, man. She's man. This card is full of people who I'm just like, I really like the cut of their jib. I like their swag.
Imagine Wang Tong knocks out Gabriela Fernandez in the first round and then gets on the mic like Michael Chandler, and she's like, Valentina Shevchenko. It's like, wow, your English is great. I'm coming for you.
It would be something. I imagine she knows she's not there next, but I don't think it would be a bad idea to start talking about that again, to start talking about that fight. And I'm sure, you know, there's media there. I'm sure it will come up. I'm sure as she continues to rise, the Valentina story will not be, like, left to the side. It is an important story for her to continue to kind of push out there, but I don't imagine she'll be calling for her. I think she knows that she can call for somebody who's more realistic as an option next.
One last fight I wanted to get into on this card is a banger of a fight. Volkan Ozdemir taking on Carlos Ulberg. Ladies' night.
Our boy.
Black Jag. Back in it. Taking on a great opponent in Volkan Ozdemir. I mean, like, this has all the makings of an incredibly exciting fight, especially the way Carlos Ulberg has been fighting lately. Yeah,
I mean, Ulberg was supposed to be fighting... What was the original fight?
Man, he was supposed to fight...
I got to look this up.
Khalil
was
Roundtree
it Roundtree
last year? And then he got pulled out of that
because
one.
Because we had the Jamal Hill.
Was he? I think he was supposed to, like, be in
I gotta
the Jamal
go to
Hill fight at one
because
point.
There was like 6 different versions of what this was supposed to be. Okay.
We haven't seen Black Jag in a while.
January 2024. Wow. There's been a few. Shout out to Ulberg for fighting.
Oh, God, yeah. No, I'm seeing it all now.
Dominic Reyes, January 2024. Didn't happen. March, 2024. Supposed to fight Dominic
We were
Reyes
supposed
again.
to see him at UFC Atlantic City in person. I was going to have my blackjack shirt on.
Supposed to fight Alonzo Menafield. Did not happen. Ends up fighting Alonzo Menafield in May.
Knocks him out in 12 seconds.
Knocks him out, like, announced himself.
Yeah.
Was supposed to fight Jamal Hill in June. Then was supposed to fight Anthony Smith in June.
Hill pulled out of his matchup. It was Olberg Hill. Hill pulled out, and then they put in Anthony Smith, and then Olberg pulled out. I remember this. It was like the wheel of like, what did it start at? It started out at like Jamal Hill was supposed to fight someone.
Khalil. It was supposed to be Khalil. Jamal Hill and Khalil. Jamal Hill and Khalil.
Yes,
then,
that was the starting, and then it was Jamal Hill.
Khalil is out.
Yes,
Khalil's out because of the test.
Khalil Jamal, and then Carlos Jamal, and then Carlos Anthony Smith, and then it was like Anthony Smith Roman Delitse or something. Who was it that Anthony Smith fought? Like,
I think it was. Wasn't it Roman Delitse?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yes, Roman Delitse. I just remember people being like, "What we started with, what we got now."
Yeah,
and it's just like, how did we get to this point?
All that to say, Carlos Olberg has been kind of like flirting with like one of these fights and just not gotten it. This is a fight. I think Oezdemir is like a real player. He has his flaws and there's opportunities for him to get got. But like, I think people really sleep on how good Oezdemir is at his best when he's really rolling.
Oh yeah,
he's really good. And this is a fight of two guys that I think are going to stand and strike with each other. And it's an opportunity for Olberg to kind of get a name, like a real name on his resume to be like, okay, I am here and I'm ready to announce. Now, would it have been better if it was Jamal Hill? Like, yes, because that's a bigger name and a higher ranked name. But I think this is a real opportunity for him to take another step up and just announce himself. And if the results continue to be what they have been to this point, dude, that guy's going to be a load for the rest of the light heavyweight division.
Do you think, it's obviously early because he hasn't really fought the level of competition. You know, he's got Alonzo Menafield, Daun Jong.
It is not the
Ihor
same.
Potieria.
Yeah.
But man, do you think Dana White would rather make a fight between Carlos Olberg and Pereira or Magomed Ankalaev Pereira? I mean, you get the good-looking guy against the absolute killer. But, especially if Carlos Olberg keeps knocking people out.
Well, he's good-looking, but he also destroys people.
Yeah. The other part. Listen, you're the one focusing on how good-looking he is, okay? I actually think our guest coming up in a little bit will really focus on how good-looking he is. It's undeniable. Ladies' night, shout out, Who am I to go against it? So I can't wait for that one. I think someone's probably going to get finished in that. I think it's going to be super exciting, and we kind of get to see if Olberg can keep ascending or if Volkan can stop that. And I think Volkan would have won 4 of his last 5 at that point. Kind of putting something together.
He's back on a roll. I think he's another one who kind of like got buried earlier. It was like he's out of it.
Yeah,
former title challenger. Like dude's legit. Dude is really legit. This is going to be a test for Olberg.
And people don't know this. Like the Swiss hold a special place in my heart. People say that I am, the king of Switzerland. I haven't been in a while. Yeah. A lot of people say that. Me and Switzerland, we're interconnected.
When you walk down the street in Switzerland is like when Alex walks in Korea. It's just like people come out of their homes and like, oh my God, Connor's here.
Oh yeah, I was at a fondue restaurant. People were coming up to me. They're just like, can Volkan do it? Like they're all diehard Volkan Oezdemir fans out there. Volkan Oezdemir and Stephanie Egger, those are the two Swiss. Everybody loves them there. I do want to say before we move on to briefly discussing the PFL Championships which happen next week, a very special announcement. And it's actually a surprise for the man right here, the legend, New York Rick. Our graphics design team was up all night crafting a special emoji just for you, and we're debuting it today. I don't know if you're pulling up the YouTube stream right now.
I'm about to.
But I want you to pull it up. We got you a custom GOUT emoji. It's in the chat right now. Drop some GOUT. Drop some GOUTs in the chat, baby. Drop some GOUTs in the chat.
Okay, so
you got GOUT.
I gotta talk about this in a second, but let me see the emoji.
Oh, it's so good. Emoji. It's so good. I want to know what you think of it so I can bring it back to our design team.
It's all the chat could see now.
Drop the GOUTs in the chat. All right. Shout out to you. Tremendous work there. I have a dear friend. I'm not going to say a name because I don't want to put him on the spot. But I have a dear friend who reached out to me and said, "Yo, brother, I feel so empowered now. We get to talk about this. GOUT ain't no joke. Me and you, we're bonded for life with this GOUT."
Yes, he thinks you actually have GOUT.
You had a closeted GOUT sufferer who came out.
This is a man who I message regularly. I am very fond of. I would love to say his name because he's such an incredible person, but I don't want to put him on the spot in terms of that. But he's just like, yes, we're in this together. And I was like, got some bad news though. Oh no, actually got gout.
The first sign is denial, Rick.
He was, yeah.
You're just feeding into their idea.
Maybe I should just pretend I do, just so that we can connect on that level. But then he did like the Homer Simpson popping back into the trees. He's like, oh, who has it? We don't have it. Nobody has it. But now it has taken such a hold that like people who are even close to me in life are like, gout for life. Like, we've got this. We're gonna conquer this. So in the spirit of that, shout out to my people out there fighting that gout and struggling. I'm with you. I support. From the outside, again, don't have it, but I support you. Beat that gout.
Can I brainstorm and work through some things with you live
Yes,
here
let's do
on
it.
the air? One for profitability, the other for being charitable. No-brainer now that Helwani has his merch store. We should throw one on there, a little BITB section. And the Got Milk logo, we change it to Got Gout. Just black shirt, white text, Got Gout. That is sold out.
So insensitive.
That is sold out before we have even launched it. That is insensitive to... Is there a...
No, we're supporting.
Yeah,
in fact, we should do some...
Pokemon and it
we
says,
should
gotta
do a
gout them all.
We should do a percentage of proceeds to like an organization.
That's what Wait, great minds think alike. I was just going to say, we're being insensitive, Frank. Like, is there a coalition
Yeah,
that's just like,
there's gonna be
respect
somebody...
our gout? And I was going to say, we do respect
No
your gout,
gout? No
because 10% of all the proceeds from our Got Gout shirts will go to the Gout Research Foundation in honor of New York Rick and his struggles with gout.
I could see someone bedridden. I think you get bedridden with gout. I'm not sure. And they're flipping through their Instagram and they're like,
Have
oh.
we
How
not
decided that
serious
this is just arthritis?
Yes,
Like,
how serious did bro say it was? Like, is it completely crippling?
once I said, sorry, brother, I'm not in this club, it was like kind of like, oh, all right. And then we didn't talk about it. But I don't
Oh my
think
God,
so.
he cried himself to sleep last night.
No.
He was wildly
No,
embarrassed. He was
no.
just like, oh, okay.
I wish I could say his name. He's a great guy. He watches the show. But I like this idea. I mean,
I
the
actually
fans,
love
the
this
fans
idea.
have to let us know if they want that. I was thinking you were going to go the geriatric.
I mean,
route.
geriatric is like that's a no-brainer. Yeah, if we could like, we need to work up an illustration of you and like you look like
Old.
sickly and old and just like absolutely withered away, and it's geriatric. Yeah.
I would love nothing more.
Yeah.
Shout out.
This is it. You guys just got in on a branding and merchandising meeting. The Boys in the Back merchandising meeting just happened live on
Ant
the air.
Evans is saying we're on this immediately. The
Oh,
gout. Drop some gouts in the chat for us.
Drop some gouts in the chat, man. Or as Ant said, shout gout to the chat.
Shout gout to the chat.
Look at German in the chat. Speaking of, he says, I'm only here for Peña. Hank the Tank says, twist and gout.
Twist and gout.
Hitch asked, does Peña got gout?
Are we going to end up
ask.
doing like content at like an event where people with gout are like talking about their experiences? Are we going to have like a man on the street where I'm like talking to these people?
I am desperate to do a man on the street and like someone's just like, oh yeah, it's like not that bad. Like if it starts acting up, I just take a pill or
Or they're
throw some
like,
cream
we've
on
been
it."
waiting for somebody to shine a light on this.
Finally, some representation for our community here.
Hit the gout in the chat.
And then they'll be
Shout
like, why are
out.
they laughing? This is
We
no laughing
probably
matter.
should go back and find out who was the originator of that question,
Yeah.
but I almost don't want to give them the shine because I love it and hate it at the same time. But anyway, moving on.
Look at Mysterious Frank getting all sensitive because we're mentioning gout.
Yeah,
I mean,
why are you so
one
sensitive?
Of the
We're treating this
symptoms of
pretty.
gout is sensitivity.
Do you have gout?
Have you been tested, Frank?
I don't even know anymore. I kind of want.
We should all
gout.
go get tested for gout together.
Is it something you test for?
I don't know.
The question is like, do you have gout? Yes or no? Like test complete. You know?
Are we going to start a trend to the point where people are faking it and saying they have gout when they
I have
don't
a feeling
have
that's
gout?
what your friend was doing. They were like, you know what?
No.
There's solidarity here.
That was a
Oh,
was
yeah,
a-
they
no,
start
no, you can
denying
get
it
tested for
once-
gout.
there was a moment of trying to connect there.
Okay, if I'm gonna call up my doctor and be like, yo, can you check me out for gout? They're
Yeah.
gonna be like, Frank, what was the genesis of this concern? And then I'm gonna show them this episode with all the emojis.
Yeah, a
Your
blood test
doctor
that
could be
shows
like this is an important issue.
a blood test that shows high levels of uric acid could help confirm a diagnosis of gout.
Uric acid, that sounds painful.
This plan is going swimmingly to disguise this MMA program, the boys in the back.
It's a medical program?
It's really just a gout
We're
awareness
actually
program.
just, yes, a gout PSA. That's all this is. This has been a giant facade, and now we're finally coming out with it.
You dropped the original on the nose question to get us on this track.
That was all planted. That was all planted.
planted it.
This has taken us, if you go back to Rick's original email, like 13 years, me joining the team, that was like over 3 years ago, then this whole thing together, all to get our gout PSA out to the world.
Wow.
It feels good. It feels good to finally openly admit it. All right, so we won't be here next week. Obviously, Thanksgiving in the United States of America.
Wait, isn't that when we're doing our pound for pound for Thanksgiving?
We're doing it this week, Frank.
That's exactly right.
Did you not submit to Jordan?
You told me we're doing the pound for pound Thanksgiving, but wouldn't it make sense to do that on the week of Thanksgiving? What the hell?
So you didn't submit.
No.
So
I submitted what I thought was the pound for pound list.
What did you think was the pound
did
for
you
pound
think
list?
it
I
was?
swear to God, if you
Pound
say
for pound,
autumnal
Frank's greatest
dinners.
moments. I was looking forward to hearing your guys' opinion of my greatest moments.
Are we
Can we
starting
just
the
do that instead?
Are we starting the mysterious minute soon or what?
we do
Yeah.
need to do the mysterious minute.
I thought that's another thing you had me prepped for. I'm just getting a lot of mixed signaling.
You're going to do the mysterious minute later on in the program.
Can we? All right. So then on the fly. So this week is pound for pound Thanksgiving dishes. Not next week, Frank,
Well, that's news to me.
because we are not going to be on Thursday. And we're not going to be on Wednesday either. And so we will need to do that this week. I don't think it'll be that hard. You can come up with something. I think you'll be able to come up with something by the time we're ready. Just pass it along to On Air Jordan, and he'll prep it.
I'll gout something down.
Nice.
Howard Disc Golf asked if we hit the pendulum before Thanksgiving. That's an absolute yes, but that's not what we're talking about right now. We can get into that later on in the program. We won't be here next week because of Thanksgiving here in the United States, and the PFL Championships will be happening on Black Friday, and I was kind of looking over the card, and you were really looking over the card sort of for the first time this morning, and there's some great fights on this card. Obviously, everyone's going to be fighting for $1 million, but Dakota Decheva, Tyler Santos is a fantastic fight. Brendan Loughnane, Timur Khizriev, also a fantastic fight. Impa Kasangane is just on an all-time tear. I think 9-1 in his last 10, and the one is a split decision loss to Johnny Eblen. He is absolutely killing it right now, and he'll be fighting for $1 million. Umaladov versus Musayev, both of those guys undefeated. Brent Premis fighting for $1 million. There's some really solid fights on this card.
Yeah, there are times where I look. So there's a limitation to the PFL's format when it comes to the tournament and it comes to the championships. You can't control you can control to a degree what matchups you're making, and I think there will be some who will claim Dakota Decheva has been benefited from the idea of you can change the matchups and then get a desired outcome in the final. Ultimately, there's a limitation, which is the fighters have to perform, and then you get whatever matchup you get. You cannot dictate who is going to be in the final. Again, to a degree, you can change who's fighting who, but ultimately, it does come down to winning those fights and advancing in the tournament. This is one of the years that I look at this card, it's lacking some of the oh wow, this guy, Anthony Pettis or Rory, anybody who's fought for PFL that was here's our big name, our big splash signing is in the championship. But matchup-wise, fight for fight, this is one of the better championships that I can recall. This really looks like some well-matched fights. Again, some of the names, Impa Kasangane, right, as an example. He is a winner of one of the tournaments, a champion of a PFL tournament, but not the guy who is going to appear on the PFL's promo materials in their banner. That's going to be the Francis Ngannous of the world, and the Cyborgs and the names that kind of resonate with the MMA fans. But he's a top level fighter and somebody who I think could be good for their brand and is in a great fight. These fights are really solid on paper, and one of the championships that I'm looking forward to watching. And even better, if you are a fan in the United States, this would normally be PFL's championship has historically been a pay-per-view product. This year they are going to air it on ESPN Plus. This is a good opportunity for somebody who's interested in the product to tune in and find some good action. What I would beg and plead and get on my knees and ask the PFL to do is once they are in and we are on that broadcast, keep it moving.
Oh, Jinx, you owe me a soda, brother.
Get some good fights going. I think these fights will deliver and just make it a quick night for people to say, okay, that was a lot of fun. I see what the PFL is about. These people are all getting $1 million. They're all champions. and leave walking away not going, man, that was a bit of a slog.
Keep that thing moving.
I think this is a good card.
Please. I actually do really think it's a great card, but something to mention is that these fights will be taking place in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, so we're going to get a 9:30 a.m. Eastern start time. But that doesn't mean it's not going to go late because, like you said, keep it moving. There are going to be 6 prelim fights, 3 rounds, 5 minutes apiece. 10, because they're doing the MENA fights as well.
Yeah.
10 title bouts.
Championships, yeah.
5 rounds, 5-minute rounds. Potentially 340 minutes of fight time. That is 5 hours and 40 minutes of just actual fighters fighting. That's the potential for this. And then you got to talk about in between rounds, walkouts,
throw to the
winning
desk,
and
interview this
interviews
guy.
and throw to the desk and promo packages and yada, 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 yada. Like there's a world where this thing goes for like 10, 11, 12 hours.
Yeah, hopefully not. Let's keep it moving. Do you know, forgive me for not knowing this offhand. Do you know if the MENA championships, do they also get $1 million?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think it might be, I think last year when they did PFL Europe, it was 100,000 for the winners.
Okay.
So I would imagine it's the same here, but I can't confirm that. That's sort of me saying unconfidently that.
Yeah.
But yeah, just keep it moving. I mean, they already made the right decision with not making this a pay-per-view.
Great move. Don Davis, I believe the day after the Ngannou pay-per-view was like, we heard you. We're gonna put it on ESPN Plus for free.
So hopefully they also heard us. Like, just keep it rolling. Keep it moving. I mean, you mentioned Impa Kasangane. It really actually is crazy if you look back at this dude's resume. Like, he got cut from the UFC after losing in September of 2021 and then lost again at Eagle FC in March of 2022. Since then, July of 2022, this will be his 11th fight. So in 2.5 years, this will be his 11th fight. Has lost 1 time to Johnny Eblen by split decision, the Bellator champion. And if he wins on Saturday, we'll have collected $2 million checks along the way.
Yeah, and yeah, won their 2023 championship, has a shot at their 2024 pit stop in between where he gave Johnny Eblen a fight. I mean, it's been really good post UFC for Impa Kasangane.
It's been incredible to watch. The Dakota Decheva, Tyler Santos is like must-see television, and like
that's my one. That's the one I really am locked in the most on because there is a lot of hype surrounding Dakota.
Yeah,
but she has delivered. When the spotlight has been on, she has delivered. This is the first time where I'm going to be like, okay, she's in there with somebody who I think is a top level, elite, best in her division type fighter, and we're going to see the result. Like, we're going to see if she's ready for that level, if the hype is commensurate with the skill. I want to find out. I'd be really fascinated if it is, because then there's a real claim if you're the PFL that you could go, we have one of the best in the world. And you can't always do that in every division across the PFL. This would be one where you could if she is able to beat Tyler Santos for this championship.
Yeah, and I mean, like, she's looked good doing it along the way, and like she has been dominating her opponents. But the thing is, man, like she's been coming in minus 2,000 against Cornelia Holm, like minus 2,000 against Chelsea Hackett, minus 2,400 against Lisa Malden, who none of these people are big names within this sport. You know, Jenna Bishop was her toughest matchup, and she was still like a minus 450 against her. Tyler Santos is one that we saw her almost take the belt from Valentina Shevchenko in the summer of 2022.
Some would say should have, yeah.
Should have taken it from her. So this would be like a stamp on her resume to be like, I'm here, I'm for real, and I am one of the best in the world. And that adds to the PFL roster, man, which would be huge. And then Brendan Loughnane trying to bounce back and get another million under his belt. Main event against Timur Kizriv, who is 17-0. And for some reason, I don't see any odds on that, despite it being the main event. But you have to think that's going to be a great fight.
Speaking about another, now, didn't have a UFC run, but speak about another guy who UFC opportunity didn't go the way he would have hoped, did not get a contract on Contender Series, ends up making a legacy for himself now as a champion in the PFL and an opportunity to win another championship. I think the story of these championships when it comes to the PFL is not like these are the biggest name fighters that the PFL has on the roster. The story of these types of fights is we run this tournament and there are people who are built for the grind that this provides, and there are people who are not, and you see kind of like how that goes. And a guy like an Impa Kasanganay, a guy like a Brendan Loughnane, who is ready all year round and always ready to take on a fight. These are the people that make it to the end.
Yeah, it's something I'm looking forward to. It's going to be great entertainment for Black Friday. Eat a lot on Thursday, then kind of lounge around the house and just have it on in the background all day. We'll discuss that further next week, hopefully on the ArielHelwani show.
Yes.
We'll be previewing it. A lot of fights to go through there. Now, let's go
This
to
is big.
second guest in program history. It is
First in our hearts.
first in our hearts. Only Parlay Pal to ever compete for a UFC title. Maybe
Yep.
that'll change one day. You never know. Frankie's been training. It is the
Reigning,
defending
defending,
135-pound champ of the UFC, Julianna Peña, joins the program. Julianna, how we doing?
What's going on, you guys? How are you?
We're good. How are you, Juliana?
I'm good. GC, New York Rick, new outfit, same thing, new outfits, same show.
Yeah. New place.
kid,
Do you like
new
the
kids.
Do you like
Speaking
the hoodie
of
or not?
outfits,
I mean, is
speaking of
the hoodie
outfits.
great or what?
Oh my gosh, I love it. I love
Gifted
it.
from the Venezuelan vixen herself.
You're always repping the fighters gear, GC. I love it. Thank you.
Let's just get something out of the way, just like real quickly here. I hit you up, obviously, to come on the show. You know, you wanted to air some grievances about the Parlay Pals. Was there any part of you that thought I was asking you to come on the ArielHelwani show, and now that he's not here, it's just us, you're kind of disappointed?
Oh, I wasn't gonna come on if it was ArielHelwani
that's-
show. I was
that- you couldn't have been
I was only gonna come on if it was the Parlay Boys.
See, I'm a Parlay Boys guy. I'm with Juliana. I feel like we're the Parlay Boys. Connor always pushes back and wants
I
to.
am Parlay Pals till I die, but I will say our group chat name is Parlay Boys, and that doesn't seem to be changing anytime soon.
There you go. There you go. What's going on, you guys? How's the betting? I am so sorry about last week.
No, actually, you shouldn't be sorry about last week because
Let's pull back the curtain. Let's.
you gave.
Wait a second. Actually, thank you for reminding me. It's not my fault. I have a bone to pick. I chose Bo Nickel to win outright, and then you called it inside the distance, and I did not say that. I just said he's winning.
Okay, so here's what I will say about that. You gave us two options. You gave us Veronica Hardy or you said Bo Nickel. We said
Thank God we didn't choose Veronica.
we said Veronica Hardy. We love Veronica Hardy here. We were like, that's a little bit risky of a pick. You know, we'll go with
Love
Bo
her
Nickel.
Because, dude, seriously, love her, Venezuelan. She's a badass. I was like, let's go, Veronica. And then, dang, I saw that freaking Brazilian chick she
Dude.
went against. She had freaking legs this big. I was like, boom. I was not expecting that.
It was a very tough matchup. So we ended up going with Bo, but Bo was like minus 1,500. So I was like, all right, we'll just give it inside the distance to take it down. But here we go. In your defense, I cost us the parlay too. I said the under in the Chandler Oliveira fight. But one question I did have, a video came out of you like screaming adamantly. You were going super hard. And I want to say it was at 309 and it was at the Bo Nickel fight. Is there any truth that you were cheering on a finish to keep the Parlay Pals alive?
I was, and I gotta tell you, I was so like, I was living in my own head on that because when I fought Raquel, I was like, oh, why did I, try to strike? I should have just stuck with the meat and potatoes of, who I am, which is take these girls down to the ground. And it worked so well in some of the earlier rounds. And I just didn't do it because I wanted to prove so much that I was the better striker. So when I was watching Bo and I'm like literally needing him to get a finish, I could not believe the fact that he just didn't even try to wrestle one time, like meat and potatoes, stick to what got you here, like the old classic, And he didn't ever try to wrestle one time. He was just trying to prove that, he didn't need to wrestle and that his striking was better. And I was like, I get it. I am guilty of doing the same thing, but learn from me and get the wrestling down, dude. Like you're the best wrestler that the UFC has ever seen. And he didn't attempt to wrestle him one time. And I'm like, please. And I was just, again, so ticked off that it was an inside the distance as opposed to just straight winner because I just was choosing him to win, not inside the distance or anything like that. In fact, the whole time I was asking Michael Bisping, inside the distance means, what does that mean? And he's like, it means that he has to finish him. I'm like, this is not what I chose. I was losing my marbles. I was like, please just finish him.
When I
And
saw the video come out, I was just like, I wonder what fight that's for. And then I saw it posted again on someone else, and they were like, Julianna Peña like screaming very passionately at Bo during his fight. And then I put 2 and 2 together. I was just like, is this for the Parlay Pals right now? Like she's living and dying with us?
Oh man, I gotta tell you that when I watch some of these fights, I'm literally only watching for the fight that I chose.
I
to
love
make
it.
Sure that they win, and then after that, if they win, I'll continue to watch. If they don't win, like freaking Cody Stamen 2 weeks ago, I'm just like ready to freaking throw my freaking hammer at the TV and be done with it. It's like, oh, it makes me so mad.
To your credit, you have a very high picking rate. We're gonna blame Connor for,
Yes, I'll
for
take the
making
blame.
the wrong pick there.
I made the wrong pick and cost us as well, so I'll put this all on my
Yeah,
shoulder.
Connor, you kind of doubly messed up.
Yeah,
this
yeah.
time.
Yeah.
No, I'll take all the
Connor's
blame. Like
gonna
I said,
take the L.
I got big, broad shoulders. I'll carry the load on this one. This one is my fault.
Looking great in the hoodie, by the way. We're going to do a live pick at the end of the show, but there's
Okay.
other things to talk about. I mean,
Before we get to that, though,
Frank.
there is a super chatter by the name of Mike D that just wanted to shout out Queen Peña, big fan from
Yeah.
Canada here.
The
Shout out
chat was hyped for them. They were like, "Get these jabronis off the camera. I'm here for Peña. I'm here for the 135-pound champ."
That's right. That's right. Thank you. Thank you. What'd you say his name was? Nicky D?
Yeah, we could call him Mickey D, but he goes by Mike D.
Oh, Mike D. What's up, baby? Love you.
okay, so now we are 1 month post championship. We are in our second reign. How are we feeling? Is it different than the first? What are the emotions? What are the vibes now removed from the actual title victory?
Dude, I'm working on freaking eating the whole damn house every single day. Every single day, I'm trying to get in like 3,400 calories every single day. Have you seen that, broad? I mean, come on. Like, I gotta bulk up. I'm working on bulking up. And it's not something that, happens overnight. It's like, I had no idea, like, it's a process, okay? And like by the end of the day, I still have like 1,000 calories left on the table, and it's just like I can't do it, dude. Like every day I'm fluctuating between 3 pounds over and under, and it's just so annoying. And I'm trying to get these big broad shoulders like GC.
Yes, you're getting it. You said that broad. Have we seen that broad? I would assume you're referring to one Kayla Harrison.
Yeah. I mean both of them broads, but yes, I am.
Do we have any idea of when you would like to return, when that fight could potentially take place? What are we thinking about or looking at right now?
No. I mean, like I said, it's going to take time to put on size. I was thinking, I would love to fight at the T-Mobile Arena during International Fight Week, but that's just me. I think that's a great time to come back. And then obviously it's, you got to have the dance partner willing and able. So we just got to work out the date. But yeah, that's kind of what I had envisioned.
Does it sound like the dance partner will be willing and able? Do we have a fight? Does it feel like we are on a collision course for Peña versus Harrison?
Oh, we definitely are. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. My gripe is the fact that like Amanda retired and then she got all mad when Kayla never said her name and was like all at the TV being like, what was that? I didn't hear you say my name. Well, I'll say her name. I'll never stop saying her name. I'm not afraid. She's like, everyone's treating her like she's Voldemort over here. And it's like, I will absolutely say her name. So I called her out. And then the next day she's like shaking her butt and like being like, Dana, call me. Wee. And then she says that she wants to fight the winner between Kayla and I. And it's like so ridiculous. It's like, just come back. I knew that you weren't retired when you tried to retire in Canada and just trying to like, oh, poor me, I'm retired. Like, you're not done. You don't have an identity outside of fighting, Amanda. And so it's like, that you want to come back and fight me, but now you want to see what happens between Kayla and I before you come back. So I know she's going to come back. I know that she hates Kayla more than she hates me, and she doesn't feel like she has anything to prove against me, and that she wants to fight Kayla more because she hates her more. But with that being said, I went out to Mar-a-Lago in Tampa a few weeks ago, and as soon as I made my post, not like 20 minutes later, did she pin a post to her Instagram of her dropping me in the fight. And it's like, dude, she can't handle not having the attention on her and not being the champion right now. So it's like, just stop it with the games. Babe, call me. Let's do this. Like, come on. You know you want to, but she's just being stubborn, and so whatever. Kayla, it is. Like, sure.
To your credit, you did call at the time. You said Amanda's not done. She's coming back. You were steady on that, despite everybody kind of coming with the criticism for you. If you could have your pick, then it sounds like it would actually be Amanda. Or does the order not matter? Do you want Kayla and Amanda in any order?
I got 2 fights before I ride off into the sunset, and it looks like it's going to be Kayla first and then Amanda Nunes. But would I like Amanda first? Absolutely, because that fight to me is a bigger fight than me versus Kayla. But the good thing, it's like a win-win either way, right? Because the good thing about Kayla is at least I finally have an opponent that can like string a sentence together and who is like going to, banter back and forth with me. Whereas it's like Amanda is like so dry. All these girls are so dry. They're starting to get the idea. They're starting to talk more than they ever have. And for some reason, I'm the one that they're always freaking talking this crap about. But hey, I'll take it. At least they're finally, getting the concept a little bit.
I was thinking about you related to UFC 309 because I was thinking about when you were campaigning to fight Amanda and you were trying to get that fight desperately. And I feel like I see Tom Aspinall in a similar position. Tom Aspinall sees Jon Jones, wants that fight, desperately is trying to get it, but Jon is not seeming like he wants to give Tom Aspinall the time of day. So what I would ask you is, when you were in that position, what advice would you give to Tom Aspinall? How does he get this fight? How does he secure it? It seems like it's closer than ever. It seems like they're going down that path. But if you were in Tom Aspinall's shoes, how would you make sure that he fights nobody but Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall?
Well, first off, can I just breathe for a second to talk about this? Because I was like the whole time behind, sitting at him, like watching him, like looking at him, and then I'm like, Tommy, Aspinall.
Let's go.
Frank, that was an opportunity to play it, but you're asleep at the wheel.
Hey, it's all good.
Who's going to interrupt
No,
Julianna?
I was going crazy. I was literally the whole time, all night long, Tommy Aspinall. And so when I saw him, I was like, I'm such a fan. I was literally I was like a little schoolgirl, I was like.
I mean, how good did he look in that fur coat?
Oh, dude.
Toothpick front row.
Well, I fall in love 10 times a day, but definitely I was like, oh, Tommy, yes, I loved him for the night. I was like, oh, Tommy. And so when I saw him Jon Jones fighting, and he was like watching and everything like that all intently, I was like, he's doing all the right things. He's saying all the right things. And, as a fighter like Jon Jones, who has done so much in the sport, you know what I mean? I feel like, especially with him saying that he's not done, he's not retired, he's one of those guys that is not going to ride off into the sunset, if you will, knowing that there's other, meat on the table that he still hasn't finished. So I think that Tommy just needs to keep doing what he's doing. He's doing all the right things. And I think that the pressure from the outside, the pressure from the fans and the machine will eventually make that fight come to fruition, because the UFC's classic on giving the fans what the fans want, and that's what the fans want.
We've had a debate on the show over the last few days. What would be bigger, Tom Aspinall versus Jon Jones or Alex Pereira versus Jon Jones, another opponent that Jon Jones has mentioned? Your thoughts on who would be bigger in that position?
I love how Dana's protecting him. You know what I mean? He's talking. What did he say? That he wouldn't put that fight together against Jon Jones and Alex Pereira.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Why?
Alex Pereira needs protecting from anyone.
Exactly, right? Come on, dude. To tell you the truth, I'd rather see that Alex Pereira fight with Jon Jones, but that's just me. But look, I'm not trying to hurt our boy. I obviously want to see Tommy Aspinall fight Jon Jones too. Look, it's like like you said, the planes are very similar. It's like Kayla and me, Amanda and me, Jon Jones and Tommy, Jon Jones and Alex Pereira. Either way, these are great matchups. These are great fights. They're dream fights. So it's like win-win situation either way.
Speaking of fantastic matchups, I'm not sure if it was a fantastic matchup, but last week we got to see Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson, who I know you have a close relationship with Mike Tyson. What did you think of that fight and Tyson's performance?
Okay, so I'll say a few things. Number one, I didn't like the whole idea to begin with, because it's like a 60-year-old man versus like a 25-year-old dude. When you watch Mike get out and start walking to the venue, he's like, guy's got sciatica from hell, walking with the cane when he's walking me out to my fight. Dude, he's been in the game. He's done some stuff. He ain't no spring chicken. So
I think they said Mike Tyson has gout.
That's what I'm saying. Gout too, dude. Seriously, it's one of these things where it's like, why is this even happening? But because it was happening and the whole world was tuning in, it was entertaining because the spectacle of the show, it kind of reminded me back of the Pride days where it's like the fireworks and the cars and, it was an awesome show. But with that being said, I loved how Mike never got dropped. And I did love the fact that, I don't think there's anything more, I would say, morally right, or the fact that he has his integrity by going out there, making money and securing his family's future. And I think that this is kind of what it's all about, is going out there and making a big payday. And it's not like he's doing it in some other disgusting way. It's like he made his life in boxing and he's going in there and boxing and making some money. So what the hell's wrong with that? I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, so you it sounds like as long as he's the willing participant, you don't have an issue with him. You don't think that the commission should step in and say, Mike, you're 58, and try to take that opportunity away from him as long as he wants to do it.
Yeah, no way. I mean, he's willing and able. He's trained his ass off. I mean, he knows how to box. Like I said, it's not like he's some no-namer 60-year-old regular random dude out there. Like, he knows what he's doing. And again, it was just a testament to his strength of being able to hang in there with a freaking young buck and not get dropped and be able to hold his own. I mean, I thought that was awesome. Half of these 60-year-olds couldn't even stay up that late, let alone get in the ring and go freaking all these rounds with freaking Jake Paul. So, like, he's got my respect. I think I saw a sign in LA, like Netflix wrote, like, everybody bow down to Mike Tyson. I was like bowing. I was bowing. He's a freaking stud.
On the other side of the equation, what do you make of Jake Paul? Do you care for the Jake Paul theatrics? Do you care for the spectacle and the entertainment that he continues to put on? Or would you rather see him in there with somebody who's like a competent top 20 level cruiserweight?
I don't care. These guys have got it right. You know what I mean? Whatever they're doing with the whole spectacle and fighting and taking these big names and putting on these gigantic venues, it's whatever they're doing it right. Because guess what? We're still talking about it. We still got their names in our mouths. We're making sure that we got those clicks, and we're the ones that are freaking tweeting out at Netflix that they freaking ruined our stream all night long. Like, I was going berserk because my freaking stream was so janky. So, I mean, it's something that it was like the literal whole world was watching, and it's basically based on the Jake and Logan Paul brothers just being absolute marketing geniuses. And I'm here for it.
Yeah, I mean, the numbers they put up were absolutely insane. Back to Mike Tyson, though. Like, how did you become friends with all these legends? Like, you have Mike Tyson walking you out of UFC fight. You're close with him. You got a million pictures with him. I've seen you with Hulk Hogan lately, Ric Flairs of the world. Like, how do we become friends with all these legends?
It's my agent, Chad Bronstein. He's the man. Chad was the one that started Tyson 2.0, the cannabis line. He started the Ric Flair drip and the Tyson gummy bites. You know, he started the Real American Beer for Hulk Hogan. So Chad Bronstein is just an absolute animal. Talk about marketing genius. That guy's got it. And so Chad, obviously. But when I went to go make this post about Mike Tyson, I actually realized that I've met Mike several times.
Like a million times. I was like, how does she have this many pictures with him?
Yeah, prior to me being with Chad. And that's just a testament to how cool Dana White is, because whoever the celebrities are that he has up front, he'll get me through the gate and I'll be able to get to shake hands with Justin Timberlake and Tom Brady and freaking, what is his name? Anthony, the guy from Red Hot Chili Peppers. His name escapes me.
Anthony Kiedis.
Kiedis, yes, Anthony Kiedis. You know, I got to meet Donald Trump. I mean, every time I go to these events, I get to go and shake hands and, you know, meet these celebrities. So it's Dana too.
I actually think all these people got to meet you, the Venezuelan vixen, the 135-pound champ, bantamweight champion of the world, Julianna Peña.
You know what's so weird is because, like, I'm fawning over them, and then when I meet them, they're like, Julianna, nice to meet you. You're such an amazing fighter. Keep doing
Let's
it. And
go.
I'm like, oh. Like, even if somebody just whispered you that in your ear right now, I don't care. You know my name. Like, I'm like, talk about a bow.
Incredible.
You were in New York. I have to admit, you know, we were a little hurt. Like, you're in New York.
Yeah, no stop by the new Yahoo Studios. Didn't want to see the set. Didn't want to see the place.
No,
huh?
No problem, mate. Yeah.
You guys, you don't even understand the amount of stress
Busy week
I
for
had.
Sure, for sure.
So I asked Amber for 2 tickets like 2 months ago for this Madison Square Garden card. And she was like, yes, you have 2 front row tickets. And then I realized that I had my daughter that weekend and my brother was coming to town. So and my cousin in Washington was telling me, come to the event, come to the event. And I'm like, oh, I can't give you the tickets that I have because they have to go to fighters in the fighter section. Unfortunately, I won't be able to make the Madison Square Garden card. I can't go. And so on Friday night, they are blowing me up and they are like, we bought your ticket. Your flight is at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. You're coming no matter what. We will find a way to get you in. Don't worry about it. And so I'm like, I am not coming. I don't have tickets. I'm not going to go, sit, in some ridiculous seats, whatever. And they're like, you're coming, just get on the flight. We'll find a way to make it happen. So like asked my brother, like, hey, do you mind if I go to New York real quick? And he was like, no, I don't get time to spend with my niece anyways. Like knock yourself out. So I jumped on this flight. I'm texting Amber. I'm like, hey, can I get those 2 tickets that you gave me? And she's like, piss off. And I was like, it makes total sense. It's the day of the event, right? And so then I get to New York. Oh, wait, Hunter calls me, Hunter Campbell. And he's like, I'm so sorry. There's 330 Secret Service members. They took all of our tickets. We have absolutely no way to accommodate you. And so we're sorry, you can't come. And so I'm like, is this how you treat the champion? But it was my fault. It was 1,000% my fault. So Din Thomas was writing me on Friday night. And I was like, Din, do you have any extra tickets? And he's like, no, Dean, excuse me. And he was like, no, but Dan Ige has an extra ticket for you. So I was like, okay, great. So I don't know Dan Ige, and I don't have his number or anything like that. But so he was like, they left it at will call for you. I was like, all right, great. So I get to the Madison Square Garden dock entrance where I went last year and got inside the venue. It was like the fighter dock. But this time it was like the VIP dock. And they're like, Secret Service was like way out on the street. Like it was closed off. There was like freaking 20 of these dudes. And they're like, what's your name? And I tell them, they're like, oh, Juliana, well, wait here. So I'm like, okay. So I'm like literally waiting outside for like 15 minutes outside the gate to get to the dock. So after 15 minutes, they're like, you can walk through. So I walked through all these VIP people that are like, going to be sitting in Dana section. And I get to the bottom of the stairs and they're like, hold up, call Amber. And I'm like, why would I call Amber? And they're like, you have to call Amber. And I'm like, I don't want to talk to Amber. Amber's going to chew my ass. And I should have like thought about it, but I'm like, okay. So I call Amber and she's like, already told you we don't have any tickets for you. We can't accommodate you. What are you doing? Like, you can't come in. And I'm like, Danny has my ticket. I should just call you because So like here's Hunter. I'm like, no. Hunter gets on the phone and just laces me, dude. And I'm literally just getting roasted. And he's like, you have to follow protocol just like everybody else. And I'm like, I swear to God, Dan Ige has my ticket. And the thing is like, now it's been like 20 minutes. I'm freezing my ass off. Like, they literally have me at the bottom of the stairs like the help. You know what I mean? They like won't let me in. And I just like felt so defeated in that moment. I was so sad.
But in the end, Dan Ige had the ticket.
Oh my gosh. Then in the end, I get as I'm getting chewed out by Hunter, I have a call on the other line. It's Ozzy. And I answer the phone. He's like, hey, Juliana, I got your ticket right here. I'm like,
oh, geez. So you came all the way to New York based off of a DM from Dean Thomas being like, yeah, I think Dan Ige's got one for you at will call.
100%. And it was literally.
And you didn't even go to will call? Like you weren't like, let me go to will call and see if it's there?
I was at the wrong dock. I was supposed to be at the fighter dock. I was at the VIP dock. And so they were came on the wrong section. So like I had all these people scrambling to try to, you can't enter the building without getting a ticket signed or scanned.
Okay, right.
And so there, and again, 330 Secret Service members there. Not like this guy hasn't had an assassination attempt on his life 2 times already. You know what I mean? So like security was airtight.
Oh yeah, insane.
Yeah, it was insane. Like, I've never seen anything like it before.
What was it like being in the building for that?
I'm not kidding. There's like Secret Service members like on every freaking 4 or 5 feet. It was insane. And they were like, they let me in finally. And I was like, thank God. After that, everything was like smooth sailing. But before that, oh my gosh, it was so stressful. And I had no idea I was going to go to the venue. I was always planning on not going to the venue. So it was literally like a time change of like 12 hours in New York where it was just like boom, boom. And I was already home on Sunday by 9 a.m. I didn't even sleep. So Next time I'm in New York.
All right, so you were here for 24 hours. There's the excuse.
I guess getting bumped by the president-elect's Secret Service is a decent excuse, so we'll accept.
Ariel's actually hitting us up right now. He says, wait, how come she didn't tell us that she was coming to New York? Visit the studio, etc. Some friend she is.
Wow.
Watching now, straight from his mouth to you. Some
He should
friend.
be listening live because literally, I'm telling you
We
right
just
now,
went
if I
through.
would have known, I absolutely would have come see the new digs. There's nothing I want to do more than to come see my new studio.
Your new
Oh, I
studio.
love
We'll
it.
have you in soon. We'll get the belt up here and everything. It'll look fantastic. Let's transition to UFC Macau this weekend and let's make our picks. But before we do that, I just wanted to get your analytical breakdown of one Carlos Ulberg. I hear you're a big fan of his.
That was actually going to be my pick this week. How did you know?
How did I know? How did I know? I don't know if we can see this on the camera here.
No, that's Carlos Hernandez.
No, can we cut to this?
Julianna Peña will pick Carlos Ulberg. I
He
knew
wrote
this was
that
going to happen.
before the show.
I knew this was going to happen.
That was so funny. Okay, so I was literally going, like, when we were going to segue this, I was literally going to ask you, do you guys believe in, like, superstitions? Because I don't think it's right if I choose my training partner. Therefore, I have no choice but to choose Carlos Ulberg.
No choice. Hands are tied. You have to go with Carlos Ulberg. So that will be the kickoff. We now have Carlos Ulberg in the parlay, minus 230. That's Julianna Peña's pick. I already threw in the randomizer. Frank, you go first. Rick, go second. I will go third.
Look, I'm going to make
Love
this
it.
really simple. It's Petr
Make it
Yan,
simple.
money line.
Wow.
Done.
Simple. Minus 305, Petr Yan. And that brings us to Rick here.
I'm going to take the other Yan. I'm going to take Yan Xiaonan.
Wow. We have a Yan.
Yan knows Yan.
We have a Carlos Ulberg. You mentioned Carlos Hernandez right now. Let's make it a Carlos, Yan, Parlay Pals, Parlay. And that gets us to, with Carlos Hernandez at minus 192, that gets us a plus 336. And that sounds like a winning ticket to me. Oh, look at that graphic. Ready to go. We actually did that live, and producer Jordan
has
ready to
steam
go.
coming out of his ears right now.
2-2, that's going to 3-2 this week. We are winning this, and we're getting to over 5 units of profit all time. Guaranteed.
Hell yeah, we are. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
This is my Joe Namath moment. Are you going to be up at, what was that going to be in Chicago? Are you going to be up at 2 a.m. watching this in Chicago?
For my training partner and Carlos Zaddy Ulberg.
Zaddy!
Zaddy, call me.
You're
No,
not the
just kidding.
first to call him that, I feel
Yeah,
like.
I
It's
have
been
a-
happening a lot.
I have a friend who's not a UFC fan who watched one Carlos Ulberg fight, and now they'll text me every time that he's about to fight and be like, I'm on for daddy. I'm just like, okay.
Yeah,
Sweet. I'm
literally,
watching too. I love him.
Name a better looking man in the UFC right now.
It's tough to, man. 6'4", ripped, knocking people out. Australian, New Zealander? One of the two. New Zealand,
Yeah.
shout out. The Black Jag. Julianna Peña, though, thank you so much for joining us. We really, really appreciate it. Next time in New York, though, no excuses. You got to come into the studio. Can't wait to see you fight next.
For what it's
And,
worth, we have one more message from Ariel who said, we would never treat you like the security at MSG treated you.
You'd
You're
walk
always
right
welcome
in.
here. You would have
Walk
a
right
red
in.
carpet rolled out as you came
we
in
wouldn't
here.
even have to come down to get you. They'd be like, oh, Champ is here. They would actually have the Champ is here through the speakers when you got here, and you'd just waltz right in, red carpet and everything.
Thank you. To the Secret Service's credit, when I gave him my name, he was like, "Oh, I know who you are," but he still made me wait outside for 20 minutes.
Amazing. Julianna, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Julianna.
guys. You guys have a good one. Take care. This
All
was
right.
fun. I'll
Bye.
see you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Look at that. Champ in the books. Yeah.
UFC
champion on the
Women's
program.
bantamweight champion, just hanging out. One of
Shout
the
out,
boys,
man.
though. I mean, this is it. Like, she's
Shout
a parlay
out.
boy.
She is. She literally is one of the parlay boys. When I invited her on the program, I was just like, yo, you want to come on the show and chat shit for a few minutes and then make some parlay picks? And she was like, I'm there. She had Rolling Stone before this. From Rolling Stone to the boys in the back.
How
What's
about the
Rolling
revelation? I mean, there's a lot to unpack there. We got to shoot the shit, but we also got some like important tidbits. If she could have it, she would rather fight Amanda Nunes first.
I think she wants that rubber match bad.
I don't think she's made it very secret. She wants Amanda Nunes. She has very clearly made that. But she has 2 fights left, she said. It is Amanda, it is Kayla, in whatever order. Then she wants to ride off into the sunset. She wants to return International Fight Week. She is bulking up. She's getting in Hulk mode to try and take on Kayla Harrison. I like this. And
I like it a lot. We just laid out 2025 for Julianna Peña. International Fight Week, co-main to John Jones, Tom Aspinall.
oh, wow, all right.
She'll beat Kayla Harrison, retain the belt, and then December of 2024, Amanda Nunes comes back. She wins the rubber match, drops the gloves down right then and there, retires, female fighter of the year 2024, and rides
Possibly
off into the
female
sunset.
GOAT at that point. If you beat Amanda
we're
Nunes
talking.
twice,
Now we're talking.
shout out to Juliana.
Shout out to Juliana
She's
for
just the
joining
best.
that. I mean,
She's just the best.
Bantamweight champion of the world.
No big deal. No big deal.
No big deal. Great interview though. I mean, she's very easy to talk to.
She's not one you have to like pull it out of.
You definitely don't
you
have
know?
to. But I mean, she's chilling with the boys. We could have cracked some brews. We could have grabbed some Labatt's wherever
When
those
she
are at.
comes. When she comes
When
to
she
studio,
comes.
we'll figure out something to do.
When she comes. All right. I'll rip through my picks real quick for the weekend. I got 5 of them, and then we'll get into pound for pound rankings. First up.
Wait, and this is Thanksgiving, right?
Yes, Frank.
Pound
Have
for
you
pound
not?
ranking.
No, I worked on it. It's done. I just
Okay,
want to make sure
okay.
I'm
Great.
You have
we're
me
aligned.
scared.
Nah, glad.
You have
man.
me
Glad.
worried.
I spent all night on mine, but yeah, sure, you can do yours in 20
That's the
minutes. No big
holiday
deal.
that's next week.
Yep. In the United States of America, it is. You know, there's
Got it,
Canadian
got it, got it, got it.
Thanksgiving and other country Thanksgivings. And anyway, my first pick of the evening will be the one that we just talked about, Carlos Ulberg taking on Volkan Ozdemir. I will actually take this one to go under 2.5. 12 seconds against Alonzo Menefield, but he gets a lot more knockouts than that. Ozdemir, yes, he's gone to decisions. Last 2 ended by first-round knockout. I just think this is going to be one where they stand and bang 2 big boys with knockout power. Someone's going to get finished. And then my other single is going to be Petr Yan to win in round 4, 5, or by decision. I just don't really see this one ending early. I mean, Petr Yan, if you look at his career, he's never been finished. Figgy, while he has been finished, he's tough. But then Petr Yan, when he wins, Sandhagen decision, 5 rounds. Song Yadong decision, 5 rounds. Jose Aldo got the finish, but it happened in the 5th round. Jimmy Rivera decision, John Dotson decision. Like, he goes longer in his fights. So to cut that minus 300 down to a minus 115 for a fight that I do think is going to go longer, I like the price tag on this one. And then I just have a few parlays, and they're just too obvious. It's just like the Parlay boys said, the Yan parlay.
Yan.
Yan and Petr Yan plus 105. And then we got the Los parlay.
Oh.
After that, Carlos Hernandez and Carlos Ulberg. I
So
love
your
my-
2 parlays are our Parlay Boys picks.
I'm ecstatic about it. I love myself a gimmick parlay, and the Yan and the Los parlay are fantastic.
Let's
and then
go.
We got to do it every week. Just the chalk dumpster sharp bet of the week. The prop parlay, 3 legs, minus 160. Doesn't get sharper than that. What could go wrong? Zhang Diaz under 2.5. Jan Ricci over 1.5. Jan Figgy starts round 3. And those are the picks for UFC Macau. We'll be up bright and early watching that one. And that's kind of a good review of, or a good preview of what's going to happen this weekend.
Yeah.
I think we covered it all. I think we covered all the bases.
We covered that. We covered PFL championships. We're loaded. We got the UFC bantamweight champion on. I mean, what more do you
What
want?
more do you want from us, huh?
Those were your Thanksgiving picks.
Frank, what?
Well, I thought that was what he was getting into, and then it was like these betting picks. I just got confused.
No, you didn't.
What are you doing here,
Come on,
Frank?
man. Be serious.
What are you
Be
doing?
serious for 1 second. So for the pound for pound rankings, we will be doing Thanksgiving dishes, despite what.
Hopefully, I feel like I don't know if Frank's ready for it, but
I have to say that's like the second or third time I've yelled. I did rehearse my yelling earlier to introduce one Julianna Peña, and we are not the only studio here at Yahoo. Despite how important and how great we are not the only studio here. We got some complaints from our neighbors that were like, "Who is yelling? Who is introducing the bantamweight champion of the world?" And
do we have any feedback on Connor's live version of that? Has anybody weighed in?
They
and
actually just came up to the window in the control room and were just shaking their head no. And I pointed at the clock. I was like, "You guys aren't even live. What's the problem?" And they just kept shaking their head. No.
I'm praying that this actually happened. I really am. When I came out of the studio after the rehearsals, they were like, "Was that you yelling?" I was just like, yeah,
Yeah.
it was. You got a problem with that? Because that's me introducing the bantamweight champion of the world. If you have any issues,
How about GC's delivery of that, though? We got a little bit of the Dana mixed in, and you go your scream. I mean, it was.
I know. I really wanted
quite
to.
good.
I wanted to get deeper as I keep just knocking this microphone over. I got the wires crossed or something. I really
Connor's
wanted to go
turn.
Tighten
I wanted
the
to
other
go
one.
deeper.
The-
Like.
Yeah.
135-pound champion of the world.
Wow. Wow.
I mean, I could watch that Dana White video a million times. You see
It
the
was pretty
veins
great.
popping.
The
Both of us
veins.
bald. Both of us get red. But yeah, shout out to that introduction shot.
I love the deep. When you go deep like that, it's like the Stone Cold Steve Austin.
I know, 'cause
like,
I can't be like-
gravel, like.
Yeah, you got to get the gravelly. You can't be like, the 135-pound champion of the world. Like you got to get visceral with it.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, pound for pound
Pound for
rankings, Thanksgiving dishes. That happens next week, so we got to do it today. I have a feeling that this one is going to get contentious. I think it's going to get intense. I feel very strongly about a few of these dishes, but we're going to kick it off with Rick. You'll go first this time. Then I'll go. Then Frank goes. Just want to make sure that's the right order.
I know Jordan is shaking his head yes.
I know that everybody looks to me for the perfect list. I have to admit, I don't feel as good about this one. This one, I feel it's a little more vanilla. It's a little more like straightforward. It's a little bit more of just like what everybody would say. I try not to do that. I try to be the voice of reason. I try to have the perfect list that is very both thoughtful but mainstream. And I have won every one of these that we've done so far. All the comments and votes and everything say that I have the best list. So
we need to actually start creating a poll to see who won.
I think
because Frank's like I know, but I'm talking about a poll like on Twitter. Those will be the final results. Because every time we do one of these, Frank's like, oh, I won.
Yeah, no, I always win and I always have the best list, but this time I'm not as certain. I have to admit, I went very like these are. I am who. How about this? I just am who I am. So we're gonna start with number 5, cornbread. Easy. If you ain't got the cornbread, like this ain't Thanksgiving. We need that. It is There's so many different things on that plate, but you know what's great when you got the sauces going, when you got the gravy going, you get the cornbread to sop that up a little bit, throw it in there. You cannot not have this. This is an auto for me. Actually, all 5 of these are autos, and then it gets harder from there. But number 5, cornbread. Number 4.
Kind of corny.
That was pretty good. Number 4, pumpkin pie. Classic, delicious, sweet. You can't go wrong with that. Now, I will admit, I like an apple pie as well on Thanksgiving. I'm fine with a sweet potato pie. I'm fine with I'm good with all the pies. My preference, especially because of the festivities, because it is around Thanksgiving, pumpkin is my one that I'm selecting here. I'm just as happy with an apple, but on Thanksgiving, it gets a little extra. It gets a little extra taste. It has a little extra spice for me. Homemade, can't get better than that. Pumpkin pie. Number 3, sweet mash. We love mashed potatoes, but we love sweet mash more. I'm a sweet fries over regular fries guy. I'm a sweet mash over regular mash guy. Like them both. But if you're giving me that option, that sweet mash, a little bit of cinnamon, a little bit of whip on it, it's just too good.
It encompasses Thanksgiving.
It is Thanksgiving to a T. It's one of those things that if it was sitting in front of me any other time of year, I don't know if I'd be digging in with like a spoon in front of a bowl full of that stuff. But at Thanksgiving time, you could put me in front of 2 gallons of it, and I'd be eating through that thing. Number 2, a classic, but feels very Thanksgiving to me anytime. But at Thanksgiving, this one hits different, mac and cheese. Especially when we're talking about the mac and cheese where it's the noodles and you're melting the cheese on, making a nice bake, a fresh mac and cheese, not that powdered junk.
Real
garbage.
ass mac and cheese. Like you're melting shredded cheese that you shredded yourself in there, and maybe you add some breadcrumbs, you throw it in the oven and you bake it. I mean, I'm talking
the one.
Are you dissing on Kraft though?
Yeah, I am dissing on. If you pull up to my Thanksgiving dinner with Kraft, I'm kicking you out of the house.
I'm not hating on
a change to what I'm bringing then.
I'm not hating on it throughout the year. At Thanksgiving, you do the mac and cheese.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm with you.
Eat Kraft on July 17th alone in your underwear at 10 p.m. I don't care. Bring that to my Thanksgiving. We're scrapping.
And Kraft.
Bring Velveeta shells to my Thanksgiving, and we are scrapping. We're throwing down.
Me and GC are both.
You walk in with the Velveeta shells. I'm hitting the dish out of your plate and just throwing up the Dukes.
Velveeta shells on any other.
This is what you're seeing with your smashed Velveeta tray on the ground everywhere. Dukes are thrown up right in front of you.
I feel like me and GC are vibing right now. All right. Number 1, some people call it something else. Some people call it the dressing. But number 1, just stuffing. It's got to be stuffing. The stuffing is the key. The perfect spices, especially when you get that good stuff where it's not dry, but it's not too moist either. It's that perfect sweet spot of flaky, flavory, but also sticky. And you put the gravy on top of it. Now you're mixing with the other things on the plate. It's number 1. And I don't think it's.
Do you
like
your
it's
stuffing inside the turkey? Then
I'm fine with either. You could dress it inside and then you can take it out. But much like with the mac and cheese, don't come with the box.
Speaking of
come with stovetop stuffing. Again, same thing's happening. You're getting the tray smashed.
No box.
Dukes are getting thrown up right in front of you.
You got to make
this
it.
This is what you're seeing. Put them up. Show up with the stovetop. We're slamming it down, and it's going down.
Slamming it down the gullet, right?
No.
Dressing or stuffing? What do you guys call it?
I call
regionally?
stuffing.
All right,
I call stuffing.
I grew up obviously in the South, and dressing is like a popular vernacular, but like I always kind of called it stuffing. But like most of my family, like my grandparents, strictly called it dressing. So like I'm kind of interchangeable. I know what you're talking about with both. So yeah, I don't really have.
You're not like it has to be called this.
No, I don't care.
Yeah,
I don't care. Like there's an amazing restaurant in Atlanta called Mary Mac's that you can like get to go things from, and it's when you order it, it's dressing. So like,
got it.
It's just kind of a Southern thing.
Yeah. All right. I feel strong about my list.
I love that list. That's a respectable list. That is one that you can hang your hat on. That's a fantastic list.
I feel good.
I can't lie. My heart was beating a little bit that you weren't even gonna have stuffing in the top 5 when you went to number 1. I was just like, oh, please God. All right, Frankie. Your list, I'm very excited.
So this is what you meant.
I like to eat these foods year round, not just Thanksgiving.
It's just a list of foods.
All right, let's hear it.
Well, coming in at number 5 is pizza. No, I'm joking.
Thank you, God.
In reality, at number 5, which is, in the order in which it comes at actual dinner time, is the relish tray.
Okay.
Got to show some respect to the relish tray. This is something that I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with, but ultimately it's a dish with like celery, pickles, olives. It's an assortment.
Okay.
It's
A
really
little
just
like appetizer.
It's to tie people down, or excuse me, wow. It's to hold people over while they're waiting on Thanksgiving dinner to come.
Yeah, you'd have to tie me down to get me to eat this shit on Thanksgiving if I'm being honest.
As a kid, you put your fingers in the black olives and you chase people around. It's a good time.
Are you a black or green olive guy or both?
I'm both.
Yeah, me too.
But honestly, my go-to is green.
Oh, that's a good one.
Big
Except
Kalamata,
for, it doesn't even matter when I'm answering a question. But black olives specifically on Thanksgiving. Yeah.
Okay, so this is like a Thanksgiving specific thing for your family?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Continue.
I'm not aware.
And speaking of which, coming in at number 4, stovetop stuffing.
Dude, you are the worst.
Hear me out.
You're the worst.
I've had enough times where someone's like, oh, I made this bomb stuffing. I used some French bread. I dried it out. I did all that. And it tastes like shit. I'm like, you know what? At the end of the day, it's a box of dehydrated bread with some seasoning.
Stop.
Like, throw some water in there, put it on the stove for 5 minutes. Serve me that stovetop. It's a banger every time. Don't try to wow me with your dried bread. I even made it myself. And another thing, people who put raisins in their dressing and their stuffing, please don't even.
I actually am with you there. I've never even heard of that before. I've heard of raisins,
the potato
salad, potato salad. I've never heard of that.
I love to be treated on Thanksgiving. I show up, always got a bag. I bring a bottle of wine, and then when they bust out the raisin stuffing, I just pull out the box of stovetop. I'm like, you know what? This is allergy free. Can you just
did you
whip
bring
this up for
stovetop
me?
to my house one time?
I did, but I left it in the backpack because the stuffing that you provided was actually it was sans raisin, and it was really good.
If you pulled out the stovetop,
however,
Frank,
on the ride back, I was eating it right out of the box.
You said that you've had some of these homemade
I know, but just call them what they are. I've had shitty stuffing.
Do you want to say any names? Do you want to call out anybody in particular? Maybe family members, friends?
My aunt.
Oh,
my Aunt Vicky.
Damn,
Step away from the kitchen. You've done enough damage.
Oh my God,
one of the best stuffings that I have ever had in my life.
Tia Stella, no bueno.
Was an everything bagel stuffing. So instead of bread, you use everything bagels. Good. It was incredible.
It sounds good, but also a little dicey. I'm going to still have the stovetop.
It was amazing. Compliments to the chef.
All right, coming in at number 3, dinner rolls.
Yeah, sure. Great choice.
For sure.
Great choice, Frankie. I respect that.
I actually prefer like the Pillsbury dinner rolls that come in the can.
Frankie, a big corporate guy.
Very corporate.
Consumer products.
Shout out. We are looking for sponsors. Pillsbury, if you're listening. Stovetop, if you're listening. Kraft, Velveeta, line them up.
The promo is Connor saying, don't bring that shit in my house. And then they're like, buy it.
No,
I'm actually also just now realizing halfway through your list, Frank, that I definitely said we were going to go Rick, me, you, and that's what Jordan agreed on. I really am. I am very sorry for this. I messed up the order again.
Connor did it again.
I keep fucking this up.
Anyway, the thing about the dinner rolls, though, is, I might have one during dinner. They shine after dinner.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's gone home.
Yeah.
Go to the kitchen, bust it out, some yellow mustard.
I knew the mustard was
French's yellow mustard. A little bit of turkey.
Such a brand guy.
French's, are you listening?
Shitty brand guy.
Drown the turkey in that mustard with the dinner roll. Couldn't be happier. That's where we're at.
Sure.
Coming in at number 2, deviled eggs.
Okay, I actually, as a Southern man, I respect
little
the hell
Southern
out of
thing.
this.
It's deviled eggs with relish. So again, we're kind of dill relish. In fact, I don't care if it's the same pickles that you used on the relish dish.
Smelly
Chop that shit up,
Frank
put it in
over here.
it's all good.
What's up, everyone? I just crushed a bunch of olives and deviled eggs.
I gotta say, I love everything on this list except the stovetop stuffing.
Yeah.
And I would, if that was just replaced with regular stuffing, these are bangers.
If you lose stovetop, I can respect the hell out of this, man.
Well, you know what? It's my list, not yours.
I know it
so.
is. I know it is.
And I like umami, and these are umami flavors. Coming in at number 1, and I got to be honest with everybody, I would eat this any day of the week. I don't care if it's Thanksgiving or not. It's mashed potatoes and gravy.
Sure.
Specifically brown gravy.
For sure.
Yeah.
Just, it has to be done right. We're talking 6 sticks of butter, 3 gallons of milk, maybe a
Nailed
potato in there
Yep.
too if you're feeling like edgy, you know. Loaded, I don't care, but so much black pepper that it like burns. I want it to make me sneeze, especially
French's
sneeze up
yellow
all that
mustard?
deviled egg and like the relish that I've been having. And then I'm going to eat these uncooked stovetop stuffing on the couch while I'm waiting to digest. All right, that's my list.
Crush a relish dish, some deviled eggs, some olives, then just go heavy on the mashed potatoes with all the lactose and everything in there, and then some uncooked stovetop stuffing.
I gotta say, the devil's egg wasn't even like on my list, like my like honorable mentions, but that's a banger. Good job, Frank.
Deviled eggs, not the devil's egg. That's weird.
Is that what I said? Deviled eggs.
Yeah, let's not eat the devil's egg. Shout out to deviled eggs, though. That was on my honorable mentions. I have a few honorable mentions, and we can get into
that. Is that like a Thanksgiving tradition? I don't know that.
Oh yeah. Especially in the South, it was like every
It's part of the Thanksgiving. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I love that.
Deviled eggs, like almost like an appetizer a little bit, but like you can eat it with the meal as well.
Put it out before.
Frank,
Instead of that relish tray or whatever.
You actually like olives. Did you ever put olives on your deviled eggs?
No.
So that was like a thing that my grandma's recipe was like it was topped with an olive, and I can't lie, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Also, one last
question. Shout out
question.
Granny Burks. That's actually a cool idea, though. I got to do that.
May she rest in peace. One last thing about the deviled eggs. Are you a like half a bite, or are you just all in one go?
Depends on how hungry I am. Sometimes I like
half a bite.
You have to do it all in one
go.
One
shot.
It's slippery. The shit in the middle.
Man.
You just gotta gulp that thing right down.
One shot.
It's just like you got one shot at that. All right.
Have you ever made them
egg
yourself?
collapsing on my hand. Like, just eat the thing.
Eat the thing. No, I've never made them myself. I imagine
another thing I like it is when the actual dressing, the stuffing basically is piped, like a pastry chef.
That's when you know you're at a nice deviled egg.
Yeah, don't be doing this with a spoon. I mean, I'll eat it. Don't get me wrong. But
that's a nice deviled egg.
Treat yourself.
No doubt. Yeah, treat yourself. All right, here we go. My list, top 5. Feel very confident about this. Many honorable mentions. Many names that deserve to make this list. Unfortunately, did not make the cut. I chose the top 5, and that 5 starts with number 5. Frank's 1. Mashed potatoes and gravy. It's a must. And I'm talking just like Frank, add in the sticks of butter, whip it up. We don't need the skins. Peel the skins. We need no health benefits on this day of thanks. Mashed potato, butter, milk, everything. And the key is the gravy. I'm jugging the system here by adding in the gravy because you need a proper gravy. I actually prefer, Frank said, only brown. I like the brown with the mashed potatoes. Growing up, my family made like a really nice white gravy that went beautifully on the stuffing.
A turkey gravy, right?
Yeah,
like
just
a lighter.
Yeah, so let's just have a couple of good gravies. Just mashed potatoes with gravy, good gravy at that. Number 4, we're covering a wide net, a wide cloth here with this one. Rick said pumpkin pie. He likes all the pies. I like all the pies as well. Number 4, pie. You have to have a pie at your Thanksgiving dinner, whether it's pumpkin pie, whether it's apple pie, whether it's sweet potato pie. Maybe you get a weird, not weird, but maybe you get a pecan pie in there. Maybe you get like a chocolate pie. I mean, it's versatile.
Bring them all. Give me
all.
It's
a player that you got to have on the roster at your Thanksgiving dinner.
No relish pie.
Easy there, Frankie. Number 3, me and Frank actually in agreement on this one. Rolls. Whether it's crescent rolls, whether it's just your standard dinner rolls, whether it's your King Hawaiian rolls, whether it's your cornbread, you got to have the basket.
We're considering the cornbread in the roll family.
I'm covering a wide net with all this. You got to have the basket with the napkin, and then you cover it open and say, oh, look at all these rolls. Yep. Grab a couple of the butter, you butter it up even more. I mean, that's how you start it off. You got a couple, you got a glass of wine and the rolls started off. You're waiting for everybody to sit down. You're getting a couple bites of the rolls in. Got to have the rolls at Thanksgiving dinner. And then number 2 and number 1 are just the staples of the dinner. Number 2, that being the macaroni and cheese. You got to have mac and cheese at your Thanksgiving dinner, and you got to make it properly. No Velveeta, no Kraft, none of that. We already went into this one. Mac and cheese has to be there. And then number 1, at least you had stovetop on your list, Frankie, but number 1 is the king of all kings when it comes to Thanksgiving dinner. It is the pound for pound number 1 GOAT. It is inarguable. There is nothing that can measure against it. It is the stuffing. It is the dressing. Whatever name you call it, it is the absolute killer of the Thanksgiving table. Everyone's putting that on their plate. Number 1, stuffing.
We had nearly identical lists. If you swap your rolls for my cornbread at 5 and move your mashed potatoes up and swap it to sweet, we got the same list.
I love it. I love it, man.
I don't think I've ever had mac and cheese at Thanksgiving.
The turkey.
Wait, what?
I'm serious.
Wow.
Yeah. Like, I love mac and cheese. But,
Really?
The turkey lovers out there are going to be hot. The turkey stands. Turkey Nation is going to be
a turkey
pissed.
lover.
They
Truly.
can just gobble right off. Who cares?
I am a turkey lover. It's just not the best thing.
I mean, is that really what
We
you
have
look
offended
forward
the
to
nation
on
of
Thanksgiving?
turkey.
You're like,
No.
oh, I just want to eat
No.
a bird.
No.
Like, it's the
Dry.
sides.
It's always dry, you know? Like, a honey baked ham does a great turkey, I have to say.
I will admit, the turkey brings the rolls up to another level. That French has already got it there, and then the turkey's like, here we go. Now it's an 11.
I love turkey.
I think one year Frank brought me a bottle of French's mustard.
Shout out.
All right, some things that were omitted that I'm interested to get your thoughts on.
Please.
So turkey was number 1 on my list to ask about, right? Because it's the staple. It's
Have to
the
have it.
centerpiece. It is the thing that we're all
sure.
here for, but it's not really like the best thing on the menu.
No way.
I like it though. I'm a turkey guy.
I'm gonna
I know
have
people do like other things on Thanksgiving. Some people do the chicken. Some people do
You are
a
what you
duck
eat,
or a
right?
ham or something else. I think you have to go turkey. I like it, but there's other
It's
things above
best
it.
for the leftover sandwiches.
Okay, I was gonna ask about that next. But cranberry sauce, how we doing?
I love it. I love it. It's just not going to make my top 5.
Kind of mid on.
Oh,
that.
I
love
used
it.
to
love
be
Love it.
anti-cranberry sauce as an adult. I really do like it, but it is kind of good for the leftover sandwich.
Oh,
Not so
yeah.
much in the middle of the.
Okay, so we
Unless,
all do
once
the
again-
leftover sandwich.
a dinner roll with turkey and cranberry sauce and stuffing on it is like, and a little bit of gravy, like that is my
I was gonna
sandwich.
say there's a little. You know what? Mashed potatoes on that.
Oh,
Do you-
Just a
do you
little
know why
bit.
cranberry
Just
sauce
a
is so
little bit
popular?
on there. A little bit. A little bit.
It's when someone screws up the turkey. You got the gravy and the cranberry sauce. Like, you got your ways to fix their turkey.
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
really what those
Totally.
things are
No
for.
doubt.
Yeah,
Just
that's what
like
it is.
stovetop stuff.
It's like the Band-Aid for the bad turkey. It's like, oh, we can fix this.
Ocean spray. Shout out.
Yeah, shout out to Ocean Spray. Yeah,
Sure.
I mean, you really just
didn't
love
really
like
talk
the
great- yeah,
you
just
just
love
really
brands.
love like
Cranberry
the bottom tier
sauce extraordinaires.
brand.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're saying Ocean Spray
Yes.
cranberry sauce.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about
You just
drinks
like
at this point.
whatever
Are you
the
not
biggest
following the
name
script?
like
Like,
bottom
you're
tier
supposed to
brand
be-
is. Like you just
hitting the
you
points.
just absolutely love that. A casserole of some sort, green
true,
bean
green
casserole.
bean.
Like my mom makes like a great like apple cranberry casserole. Like there's so many great casseroles that go down on Thanksgiving. I feel like everyone has like one that's specific to their family.
Yeah. What else? What else are we missing? What else is there that doesn't get
like
love?
a great dessert that I've actually seen kind of popularized, like they have it in grocery stores now, is a pumpkin roll. Like it's just like a pumpkin
Oh, like a
pastry.
Swiss roll.
Yeah,
Like
it's
a
like a
long-
giant log of
Yeah, yeah,
pumpkin
yeah.
and cream cheese. That is phenomenal. One thing that's actually really slept on that was actually like my favorite part of the day growing up is Thanksgiving breakfast. My mom would make this incredible breakfast casserole to wake up in the morning. You know, everybody's waking up, coffee, maybe some mimosas or something going around. You got the parade on. It's just like there's a different feeling in the air. Like, you know, it's Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving breakfast, highly slept on.
What is the actual breakfast?
Okay, the casserole, you want to know? You might be grossed
Yeah.
out by this.
No.
It is a puff pastry, and then in it is eggs, cheese, Jimmy Dean sausage. Frank,
Oh, we
show
had
some
this
love
last
for,
Thanksgiving, right?
Yes,
Oh,
sir.
that was bomb.com.
Yeah, this is sounding pretty good so far. I don't think this is
and dried cranberries. Incredible.
Sure.
It was
I'm
so
coming.
It is actually like one of my favorite foods I've ever had. It's unbelievable. That's how
Wait,
you start a Thanksgiving.
Did your
morning.
mom make the one that he had?
My girlfriend made the one that he had.
Wow.
Yeah, she stepped up to the plate, made it every year to fill in for my mom. So yeah,
Frank,
Knocked it out of the
Give it a review.
park.
knocked it out of the park. Yeah, she killed it. She killed it every year. I mean,
That sounds delicious.
it actually is one of my favorite.
Is it
foods.
is it a southern thing? Is it like a did she come up with this or is this
Nah,
like a
it's-
known thing?
It's like a recipe from like a Southern magazine.
Okay, got it.
From
Burke's
like
cult classic.
1987. Like I'm like, can you send me the recipe? And it's like just like
What is it
it's-
called?
it's like
if I was like telling
Happiness in a plate.
somebody, I want to find
Jimmy
this thing.
Dean cranberry breakfast casserole. Let's see
Okay.
if anything comes up
Served
online.
at
Shut
the
up.
Burke's household.
Yeah, I'm not seeing
Around
anything
the
online.
South.
I'm gonna get her to send me the.
I want to know. I want
gonna
my
get her to-
wife to try it.
Yeah, I'm gonna get her to send it, and it's gonna come on like a just like completely worn out. Like it's gonna look like the Declaration of Independence. Like it's from like 1987. Like
Nick Cage is
completely,
hunting it.
yeah, completely worn down. Like literally from like Southern Magazine, like April 1987.
Jordan's back here looking it up. He says he's going to make it for us next week. Shout out to-
Yo, let's go there,
Wow,
Jordan.
wow.
Yeah, there's a couple relevant super chats that I think we should address real quick.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So-
And by the way, get more in if you haven't already. We'll answer all of them as we go.
Yeah, so just to start us off, Tech actually sent over.
Oh, shout out to Tech.
20 pounds. Says,
Let's
tell
go,
Ariel
Tech.
to put this in the Boys in the Back Fight Feast Fund.
Oh, amazing. That's actually amazing. We need all the help we can get.
Because when we asked Ariel about the fund, he was like, you're looking at your wallet. Take care of it. Yeah, so.
I was thinking Kazakh food for UFC 310.
That's so exciting.
That's going to be good.
I'm stoked.
Yeah, we found a restaurant. I'm looking forward to it. A couple of those dishes look amazing. Shout out.
24-inch Dubs sent in a couple bucks saying, dark meat is the best. Y'all are whack. I love the southern.
Okay.
y'all.
Okay, that's an important conversation to have.
Dark meat, light meat.
Dark meat, white meat.
I'm light.
Really?
Yeah, dark's fine.
Because I feel
dark.
like dry
It's a
is like
mixture.
offensive to you. I would have expected you to be a dark guy.
Yeah, it's fine. They're both kind of fine. I'm not that passionate about my
You're not-
turkeys. Yeah.
I'm very passionate. about
I'm
the
here for
turkey.
everything else.
I'm a dark meat. I'm a dark meat
Shout
guy.
out to 24-inch Dubs, though.
Yeah, shut up.
Calling
And
us
then,
whack. I mean, we could have saved that. You know?
There was just a poll that Ant had submitted that I think we should take note of. It
Okay.
says, whose house we going to for Thanksgiving? We got Frank for a lovely salad at 7%.
7%.
I'm ordering in, thanks so, at 17%.
17%.
So I understand what they're trying to say here. That's fine.
Okay.
Rick's, but worried about gout at
Okay.
32%.
Worried about gout and ghosts.
both, yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Amityville Horror.
So that finishes it up with 44%
Oh, GC's not on the list?
of people wanting to
Oh,
go to
GC is 44.
GC's.
Come
Oh
on
my
down.
God. Rick.
Come on down. Thanksgiving at my house. Everybody's welcome. I'll pull out the folding table. I wish I wasn't talking over that. That would have been a great drop. But yes, I'll see you there.
I would love to come.
Yeah, I can't wait to have you. It's gonna
What
be
is
awesome.
happening? I missed it.
I just now picked up on what he
Yeah,
was
yeah,
saying.
it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be it's gonna be awesome. But yes, that's actually an honor of mine to be able to win this award that strangers that I don't know but enjoy our content.
Are you ever cooking the Thanksgiving dinner? Are you the one? You're not. You're never the one.
No,
I'm not the one either.
The lovely women in my life have
me too.
constantly stepped up to the plate over the last 3 decades, and I
too.
hope that will continue to be a thing moving forward for the next 7 decades if I am lucky enough to live that long.
Must be nice. Oh, that was us. That was us.
Wow.
The sun. Wow, I haven't heard that dropped yet, Frank. That was
All
us.
right.
No, I actually don't think I've ever cooked a Thanksgiving dish before. I'm an eater.
A whole dish, not even one dish.
No.
I mean, you pulled out those chips that one year.
Yeah,
I've
bought
cooked
those.
the turkey before.
Bought those. I mean,
I've
one
cooked the
year Frank came over and I just bought the whole meal. Yeah, just got
I
it.
mean, it was a collaborative
You know,
effort.
there's places that
You mean collaborative by
Just
I went and
monetarily.
picked it
Like,
up.
Yeah, you picked it up.
I went in, I
he said
heated it up,
monetarily.
everything. You just Venmo'd me, and you actually came up short on the Venmo. Now that we're 2 years later, you know
We don't care.
Okay, all right. I get it.
Sorry, Darren. He said collaborative monetarily. I love that. That's a good way
Thanks
to
for
put it.
Venmoing me, man. I spent all
Yahoo
the time.
Finance
Have
is
you ever
rubbing off
done-
on me, man.
Have you ever done like the Popeyes? Get their turkey, get their meal, or
Cajun
Boston
turkey?
Market, or one of those.
I've seen all the like commercials for it. I'm usually doing somewhere local
Yeah,
that like not prides themselves, but it's just like,
homemade.
yo, come get our Thanksgiving dinner. Like
Yeah.
you can order it. It's $200 for the whole package, and all you have to do is go home and heat it up.
Yeah, I'm also somebody who gets served, thankfully, and I'm very thankful and appreciative of it. But I have cooked the turkey once or twice before.
Wow, respect to you.
It's an ordeal. It's not.
Yeah,
It's not really fun.
No,
It
no.
kind of takes the
fun
joy
part
out of
is waking
Thanksgiving.
up, crushing breakfast casserole, crushing some mimosas, watching the parade, watching football, and just staying out
While
of
somebody
everybody's
you
way.
love is doing all the hard work and then comes and says, "Time to eat."
It's all even monetarily, you know.
Yeah,
I'll Venmo you.
You were collaborating monetarily.
Alicio Corbetto also sent over a couple of dollars saying, any words for gout survivors watching on?
Survivors, I feel, is this
Continue
like
with
a
the
fatal? I don't
struggle.
think it's like a fatal disease.
Continue with the struggle.
We're here for
Continue?
the message is to all my gout brothers and sisters, gout-ridden brothers and sisters out there. We're here for you. Solidarity. I'm with you. I don't have it, but I'm with you. And we'll see if we can do something nice.
Any more super chats, Frankie?
We got one from David Sedin.
Shout out to David.
Turkey mixed with gravy poured over mashed potatoes is tier leftovers. Have a great Thanksgiving, boys in the back.
What was that? Is what?
It's top tier.
I think it's S tier. There we go.
It's S tier, and he went tier.
Oh, what?
S tier.
What did he say was turkey with gravy?
So turkey mixed with gravy.
Okay.
Poured over mashed potatoes.
Yeah, sure.
Is S tier leftovers.
The turkey is in the gravy bowl.
Mixed together. One more time. Turkey mixed with gravy poured over mashed potatoes is S tier.
You're pouring turkey. Okay,
shout out to David. That's a good one.
Have a great Thanksgiving, boys in the back.
Yeah, you guys too.
A couple just like normal chats. If we're done with the super chats, Trend Daddy says he feels like he's targeted by all the gout slander at this point. So Trend Daddy,
we're with you, brother.
We are with you. Malka says GC is my favorite Labrador. I'll take that as a compliment, I suppose.
What would I be? Should we do what dogs we? That might be a pound for pound dogs.
Rice dressing, mac and cheese, dark meat turkey, and potato salad. And I'm from South Louisiana, so you know it's good. Shout out to Andre.
Where does potato salad get in the mix?
I don't do the potato salad on Thanksgiving.
Okay.
McLovin10 says, can you guys circle back to the talking cat Uber driver scenario? No, it just feels like Rick, as a cat, if you missed it yesterday, he was going to be a cat and he could only communicate through on-duty Uber drivers. I
feel like
not that I could only communicate with through them. It was that they could understand me.
Yeah, they could understand you. Yeah, so you're going to build a big business, an empire with them, and then leave them for dead because as soon as
leave them for dead, we're just going to make a lot of money together.
Yeah, and then never talk to them again. Respect.
Respect. It's going to be a great business. We'll be like the new the boom guys, you know?
Let's see what else. Anything else? I'm stopping by all three of y'all's houses if that's cool. Fabo, that is cool. You'll have to travel quite a bit, but that's okay. Salito, just want to say this is my favorite show, but the deviled eggs inclusion means I will no longer be watching. Wow, Salito hating on deviled eggs. We don't need you here then, Salito. We love you, Salito, but we don't need you here
anymore. I will eat twice as much develed eggs to make up for that hatred.
You'll eat the deviled eggs to protect him from having to see them.
Oh, this just in. Malka is an American bulldog. I am a Labrador. He's an American bulldog. Cross says Trend Daddy. Trend the Gout Daddy.
This is important. Shivs is laying down some facts for us that I think is important.
Okay.
Gout Awareness Day is May 22nd.
Oh, fuck.
Right, we got to do something important.
It's a few days before my birthday. I don't know if that has any real significance.
Absolutely no significance to.
It does feel significant to me.
This is the moment where Frank confesses, guys, actually, I have gout. That's where
Do you think I would ever admit that I have gout now?
This was all a ploy to get us to hang out with you on your birthday. Every year it's a struggle, and this is how you're going to do it. We'll hang out on Gout Awareness Day. May 22nd, yeah. Purpose to raise awareness about gout, a painful form of arthritis that affects millions of people worldwide. Shout out. Do we have a ribbon? Do we have our own color of ribbon?
It's gout out, not shout out. Come on. Man.
Oh, yeah. Gout out. We do. It's like a royal blue ribbon.
Gangster.
We're going to have to cover the studio in those. That's going to be a great day. David Sedin, turkey chunks in the gravy. Matthew Helms said, Bobby.
So that's a big popular thing, I guess.
That was the same guy.
Oh, okay.
Matthew Helms says Bobby Hill had a wicked case of the gout. Shout out to Bobby Hill. Legend.
Bobby Hill.
Deviled eggs get owned. Yeah, I think that's what he's talking about. Matthew Helms, green bean casserole or sweet potato casserole should have made a number one.
No, not number one, but they're good. Sweet potato casserole. You could talk me into that.
See, this is what I'm talking about. Fabo says, my mom does a broccoli cheese casserole. May not sound perfect, but it's really good. I swear to God, everyone has a casserole that like their mom makes, and you're like, it sounds kind of shitty, but it's actually amazing. El Pupacabra is back. Rick's number one enemy. I only eat Thanksgiving turkeys that have gout. This turkey was certified with gout.
Turkeys have gout. Yeah, shout out. We're serving that.
Ice cream with pies for dessert. Yeah, you got to make it a la mode.
You have to put the ice cream on top for sure.
How do you guys feel about fruit salad?
I like it, but that's not really like Thanksgiving.
If it is actually just fruit, like if you're adding like mayo or some cream to it, I don't need it.
People do that?
Like when it gets the white stuff in it, the cream.
Oh,
yeah.
No, I don't
but,
mess with that.
But that's not like a real Thanksgiving-y thing, is it?
I'm just thinking of things that were traditional for my family.
Okay.
I admit that they weren't following like any traditional book or something. I didn't know that was a thing.
Okay, NS says, I'm not an American, but I went to a few Thanksgiving dinners. They are vastly overrated. And then someone actually responds to him later on here in the chat and says that he agrees. He's in the same boat. It's just a Sunday roast with weird side dishes. That's Riston G. So it sounds like they're probably from the UK.
Okay. It's
Haters is what I call it.
It's delicious
Haters.
food, and it's about the ritual of it. It's about the ceremony of it. And
It's about being with your
Breakfast
family.
is a Thanksgiving feast, like every morning, right?
It's about giving you thanks.
Yeah. Nah, not overrated. I'm a big Thanksgiving guy.
Shiv's May 22nd Gout show. That will be a special. Look up the Gout description in 1683 by Dr. Thomas Sydenham. It's a couple sentences, but it's harrowing. Okay, that's the last.
Geez.
That's the last
yeah,
thing
let's
we're
just
doing
read
on
that
the show.
out and then get off the air.
Yeah, that's the last thing we're doing on the show.
Thanksgiving
Dr. Thomas Sydenham.
1863,
Wow. 1683.
1683.
Okay,
My
here we
God.
go. Oh my gosh. This guy looks, I mean, it's just a painting of him. An accurate and color description of a gout attack was elegantly written in 1683 by Dr. Thomas Sydenham, who was himself a sufferer of gout. Do we have any dramatic music to play here? No, we don't have a fucking music license. Okay, here we go.
Dramatic music.
The victim goes to bed and sleeps in good health. About 2 o'clock in the morning, he's awakened by a severe pain in his great toe. I guess in 1683, he's referring to the big toe. More rarely in the heel, ankle, or instep. This pain is like that of a dislocation, and yet the parts feel as if cold water has now been poured over them. Then follows with chills and shivers and a little fever. The pain, which at first moderate, becomes more and more intense. With this intensity, the chills and shivers increase. After a time, this comes to a full height, accommodating itself into the very bones and ligaments of the tarsus and metatarsus. Now it's a violent stretching and tearing of the ligaments. Now it's a gnawing pain and a pressure and tightening, so exquisite and lively. Meanwhile is the feeling of the part affected that it cannot bear the weight of the bedclothes nor the jar of a person walking in the room. And this is what we make fun of.
The dramatic reading, I mean,
if we could have had a little bit of music, it would have been perfect, but we're... Next week we'll get the music license.
We will play that.
Next week we'll have the music license for sure.
We will play that at the top of show on May 22nd, just as a reminder
with the dramatic
to all
music
the sufferers out there.
If we have a music license by May 22nd, I'm not sold. All right, that's it.
GTA 6 or music license?
That's
What
a
comes
real
first?
question.
What comes first?
That's actually, put it on the poll, GTA 6 or music license. We'll see. We'll find out. All right, that's it.
What a show.
What a show, man. There it is. There it is. Yeah, beforehand, I was just like, man, UFC Macau.
What are we going to talk about?
What are we going to talk about? We always find something to talk about. 2 hours and 10 minutes later. 2 hours and 10 minutes in the can. Thanksgiving next week.
UFC Macau breakdown.
PFL Championship.
PFL Championship breakdown.
Julianna Peña, bantamweight champion of the world, joining the show.
Champ joins us.
Thanksgiving pound for pound
Thanksgiving
list.
pound for pound.
Gout
Super
awareness.
Gout, raising the awareness and the flag for the gout sufferers. I mean, what didn't we do today?
You tell me. Special thanks to Joe Reeder.
Yeah, Joe. Shout out to Joe. Killed
Legend.
But also, obviously, shout out to Andy as well. Our hearts are with you.
Yes.
We love you and miss you. Yeah, we did it all. And, you know, Julianna was fantastic. Gave us a little bit of, you know, newsy stuff. Like, it also came to hang. Like, it was, I would dare say, this was like a perfect show. I don't think we can do better. Should we come back? I don't know if we can come back.
I'm retiring.
Nah, you know what? I don't think we're going to be back next week.
No, you know what's actually crazy is how fast time moves. We won't be here next week, and then the next show will be 310 preview.
Wow.
Just like that. Bam.
Coming up quick. That was it.
Song always longer than I remember it to be.
No, that's okay. When we have our own music, there will be...
Yeah, one of these
shorter.
days. One of these days.
Frank, good job on your list.
Thank you, Julianna Peña, and everyone for watching. See you in 2 weeks. Enjoy Thanksgiving if you're in the States.